now is on the contributory, whether the reservation regime can come into the schedule. Because as per para 2, sub para 1, there is no reservation provision for the election of Tribunal Autonomous Council. But there are different sections who have argued that the provision of 6th schedule itself, because it is declared to be a tribal area as per para 20 of the 6th schedule, and therefore the reservation regime is not necessary here. It is automatically transferred, automatically reserved for all the tribal people. But the second Administrative Reforms Commission, which placed its report in 2009, clearly said that anybody who attains the age of 25 years can contest in the annual election. So, what is the real truth? Constitutionally, legally speaking, would say real truth. Is reservation regime possible under the 6th schedule, or is the provision of 6th schedule entirely and automatically reserved for the tribal people? That part has to be made clear.
Where is the tribal area? The tribal area is where the tribal people are already dominated. So this is an arguable position. I don't want to take a stand because I have not analyzed it. But definitely we have reservations in the country for scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, etc. Why? Because perhaps it has been thought that in that particular community or tribe is not able to represent in the legislature, in the parliament, so we have reservations. So if all the tribal people are already sufficiently represented, or because without the vote of the tribal people you cannot get yourself elected, there will be people, tribal people, non-tribal people, but then if you are working for the tribal people, they will love you, they will elect you. But whether the tribal reservation regime as such can be there or not there, it's really a debatable issue. I'm sorry, I don't want to comment on that without analyzing this aspect of the matter, because this is a very important constitutional aspect. And I find that in the proposed bill, there is a provision for reservation is there. In 2019 reservation provision, there is the parliament has got it. The government of India has got it. There's reservation is possible. Let's do the reservation part of it. There is no doubt. The parliamentary standing committee, which is of 31 members of the parliament, and I find that the select committees really work very hard from all parties, not from one political party. They represent all the different political parties, and then they come. They have not said it is not possible. So it is prima facie possible, but if it is law is made, definitely challenges are made here and there. But definitely I will look into it and I will come back to you with a more concrete opinion on the subject, whether a permissive is possible or not, whether it is not possible. I don't want to comment on a lightly discussed research subject, which I have reservation parties, I have not researched as such.
Sir, how powerful, how genuine or authentic is the recommendation of the Administrative Reforms Commission?
Definitely that is a very, why you refer it to a committee? If you see from 1951, the first Amendment Act, it was referred to select committee of 40 members. Then the second, third, I am presently working on the constitutional amendments. Up to first 30 or 35, 30, there have been selected committees. For example, let me give you, we have the 9th schedule, in which the laws are made, then they are protected from being challenged on the ground of violation of fundamental rights. At one point of time, the bill introduced about 117 laws to be included in the 9th schedule, which said they cannot be challenged. The committee said, what is this? Many of them does not survive, many of them have not been challenged. You include only 40. Ultimately, Parliament passed only those 40 laws, which had to be included in the 9th schedule. So the committees are definitely, has a persuasive power. Ultimately, what the Parliament decides and debates, that is final. But definitely they look into the nitty-gritties, and especially the standing committee has toured around the entire Northeast. It reflects the cross-section of the society, views of the cross-section of the society. They make recommendations. It will prevail on the members of the Parliament, and ultimately in a democracy it depends. You have to raise your voice sometimes. In the courts we don't raise your voice, but sometimes we have to raise our voice. I have said in one court at one point of time, normally I don't raise my voice in the courts. But what I found that once I was arguing in the court and other side were very, very leading members, and they were all raising their voices. I said, Lord, if I have to raise my voice up in issue, let me raise my voice. Let me hear it. Sometimes you have to raise your voice.
Sir, I come from Tripura.
Yes.
I'm an advocate practicing in
Okay.
Tripura High Court. I have 3 questions to be clarified.
Yes.
I think in India we have only one constitution,
Yes.
and that is also the one 6th schedule we have.
60 will be a part of the law.
Yes. But why it is differ from state to state? Second, when we talk about Article 280, we knew the municipality budgets and other thing, I think that falls, if I'm not mistaken, that falls under the Constitutional Fund of India. But whereas the 6th schedule falls under the Constitutional Fund of the state, where the state itself is depending upon the Constitutional Fund of India. So there, the lacuna and the lawful that we find, where the council is really finding the constraint to run the council. And thirdly, particularly in Tripura, whenever the Autonomous District Council of Tripura passes the bill and send, the state always send back saying that TTITC is not competent to enact law. But as paragraph 3, it clearly says that Autonomous District Council has the power to enact law for the land allotment and land distribution and so forth. And lastly, oh, okay, okay, sir. Okay. The first question that I have asked is, we have one 6th schedule, one constitution, part of the constitution. Yes. Right. Right. And the second question is,
It has to go to governor. As I requested our chief executive member of Darji Amram, please form a core committee or study group of all the district councils which have a common problem. Raise your voice with a common platform. And you say under the 6th schedule, the state government is only a consultative process. The decision is by the governor in his individual discretion. Send your bills after being passed, authenticated by the chairman to the governor secretariat, request the governor that please take decision. If they don't take decision, perhaps we can go to court and say that please take a decision within a particular time. You cannot gather dust. It's not meant to gather dust. We have passed law. We are elected body. We represent people. It does not depend on the mercy of an officer, as I said, district magistrate. I don't mean any wrong. It doesn't depend on the mercy of a joint secretary or a deputy secretary that it is lying on his table and he does nothing, and our executive member goes and the chief executive member goes and says that please pass it on to the governor. No. You send it to the governor with a copy to the state government. And we have passed it. Please give your assent. And if it is a concurring subject, please send it to the governor. We don't require the state government. The state government is not required. So take that stand and take that common stand by all of them. That definitely stand. If you have one finger as you say, or if you have 5 fingers together, it is much more powerful. If I hit you, definitely, you will realize it more. Have a unified strength of all the district councils, have a static group, have a command force group of the common area. Then please take it further. Financial aspect is concerned, definitely, unless funding is there, that's why 280 is being amended under the present schedule.
under this Article 280, in Anand Sharma committee, actually we have addressed the issue that sixth schedule should be under the constituted fund of India. Under this we have it. Right.
Raise your voice, then you are members of parliament, then you must raise your, because ultimately the parliament is parliament.
Only one question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please give a details as per Article 200. Article 200.
Article
Can the spirit of Article 200 be applied to autonomous council also? Because Article 200 says that the bill sent by the state government to the governor, he has to take a decision within the period of 3 months. Or he has to send it back. Whether he has give assent to it or he has to send it back. And when it is sent for the second time after reconsideration, then the governor has to sign it. He has no other choice. He has to sign. Yeah. No, can it be applied in the case of autonomous council?
Reflected by the members of the autonomous council, by the members of the assembly, by the members of parliament. Ultimately, the people are sovereign. You have accepted certain. I think my time has gone. We will go on debating this issue, but that provision, strictly speaking, will not apply. That you can ask for expeditious disposal, saying that there is a similar provision, but then we can't bind it.
Thank you so much for your support and cooperation to today's seminar. Now,
from India, Professor Dr. Nani Gopal Mohanto, Head of the Department, Pol Science, Guwahati University. Distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen, this is my privilege to be addressing this august gathering and be a part of this healthy and very interesting discussion with respect to Schedule 6 of the Constitution of India. I was very intently looking into the question and answer sessions which followed pursuant to Sri Vijay Hansari's speech. Perhaps this question and answer session should also proceed in the second half, subject to the organizers having time and provisions for it. Much has been said by my predecessor speakers, Justice Gogoi, the Hansaria, with regard to the intent, purport, the importance of the sixth schedule, the history, how it is to be interpreted. I would not like to repeat the historical aspect of it. I will just refer to certain provisions of the sixth schedule, which has also been referred to earlier. My take on the sixth schedule or the power of autonomy, or the autonomy of the Navi Autonomous Council in respect of the sixth schedule, that once one goes through the constitution of the sixth schedule, we find enormous powers and autonomy being granted to the autonomous councils by the constitution. Moving aside the debate of certain provisions, whether this provision is available, not available, as I was intently listening to the debate as to whether a particular bill needs permission, prior permission to be placed before the house, or things like that. These controversies, if required, can only be settled by a court of law. So therefore, this is not an area that I'd like to traverse at the moment. The importance of this sixth schedule, one has to understand the intent. The intent is to preserve the traditions, the customs, the rituals which are followed by the people living in those areas. Although the word tribal is used, on a personal front, I don't find it very convenient to refer to this term called tribals. Tribals etymologically means anyone who belongs to a tribe. So technically we have all come from tribes at some point in time. So therefore, although the constitution uses the word, or the laws uses the word tribals, I will refrain from using the word tribals. I will say indigenous members of the various constituent groups of autonomous council. Now, why was it necessary? Why did the constitutional framers or the representative of the peoples have hotly debated with regard to the preservation of customs? Mr. Hansaria, who was a senior colleague earlier, Mr. Advocate General, will agree that what is ultimately a law flows from a practice which becomes over the years a tradition, therefore a custom, and if adopted by the house or by the framers, becomes a law. So therefore, if the council and its constituent members feel that a particular tradition or a custom is necessary to be preserved, then that must be respected. And in years to come, perhaps we may see laws being framed on these customs. In a judgment of the Supreme Court in Bhimshaya versus Janavi, reported in 2006, the Apex Court has very succinctly put down what are the essential attributes of a customs. First, it must be immemorial. Secondly, it must be reasonable. Thirdly, it must have continued without interpretation since its immemorable origin. Fourth, it must be certain in respect of its nature, generally, as well as in the respect of the locality. Fourthly, it must be certain in respect of the nature generally. So, there are four attributes. First, it must be from time immemorial, something which is being followed through generations and practice. It must be a reasonable custom, not opposed to the basic human rights guaranteed under the Constitution and the laws which look after the rights conferred, the Constitution rights made under the laws framed under the Constitution. It must have been continued without interruption, and it must be certain in its respect of in respect of its nature. Now, these are the four attributes of a custom. Now, what I find, and I have been informed, that the council is attributed with all the powers which are normally given to a state, namely executive, legislative, financial, and judicial. But perhaps the courts, the council courts, the traditional courts, have not yet been established in Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. Now, there is a reason for this. There is a particular reason why the courts are necessary. These courts will be manned by the officials who are appointed by the council in consultation with the appropriate department of the government, and they are likely to be well versed in these customs and practices. Now, in respect of certain disputes between two persons or two groups of persons between indigenous persons belonging to a tribe, the customs and the practices can only be known to those elders and to those learned persons who are aware and who belong to those tribes. It is in the event of such deliberations that you come before the court that the practice of a custom comes. For instance, in Nagaland, for instance, I know that there is a customary court which is called the Dubashi court. They deal in various customary laws practiced by the various groups of Nagaland, and they pass orders. And against this order, there is an appeal which lies to the High Court before a division bench, 2 judges. This has been practiced for a long time. Now, the effect of this is that you have, if somebody says that a particular custom is not a custom, it's a debate. Let us say a debate is raised in a court of law. Now, what will be your evidence for the council to support that this is indeed a custom? If you have village council courts, you can have the views and the opinions and the judgments and orders passed by these elderly people belonging to the various customs to render that this is a custom which was followed in so and so, such and such period, and this is attributable to such and such groups. Now, while following customs, there is again an issue that a custom may not be followed by all the constituent groups. It may be different for different kind of groups. But whether it can still be considered to be a custom is actually an area which is better known to the indigenous people belonging to the particular area. This is one of the reasons I think the council, in consultation with the state, should take up this issue and establish the village council courts, so that the very purpose of and the spirit of the 6th schedule to give independence and autonomy to the indigenous people living in the areas of Karbi Anglong is properly carried on the basis of customs, traditions and practices. Regarding the various subjects, going through chapter 3A, para 3 and 3A, I find that there are several subjects which are transferred and where autonomy is given to the council members in the council to set up, take into action beneficiary works, set up schools and colleges, hospitals, etc., and make rules, subject of course to the approval of the government as it stands now. And the other aspect which Justice Gogoi had pointed out is in reference to para 20B, capital BA. This is a debatable issue. There are judgments of the Supreme Court, High Court, and considering the fact that I am a judge, I'm a sitting judge of the court, perhaps this is not the forum for me to express my mind as to whether and to what extent 20 capital B and capital A is to be interpreted. I'm conscious that there are judgments of Guwahati High Court in this respect, and perhaps maybe before the Supreme Court as well. But this is a limitation for a sitting judge. This limitation, I fondly remember, is not applicable to the members of the bar, which I was before I assumed office as a judge. So therefore, you have a sufficient number of legal experts who will guide you into the correct interpretation, and ultimately if the interpretation is comes to a court, then it is for the court to decide as to the extent and the intent of these particular provisions. topic for today as to the independence, autonomy, and its headway in the perspective of Assam. Looking into sixth schedule, particularly available to or applicable to Karbi Anglong, I think there are sufficient powers, sufficient liberty, sufficient autonomy granted, bearing those issues of bottleneck where whether a permission is required or a prior approval is required or a post facto approval is required. The learned Advocate General, Mr. Mr. Saikia, Senior Advocate, Mr. Ansaria, your Standing Counsel, Mr. Chutia, and the bar will debate that, pre-approval can sometimes be interpreted to be post facto approval. There are galore, judgments are galore, plethora of judgments. Now, the fact remains that the council must always be aware of the fact this is enormous power given on the council to frame laws, to deal in subjects which are transferred. Please remember that every power comes with a great deal of responsibility. Any particular decision which is taken by the council in its wisdom will also have to measure it against the yardstick of the responsibilities or the constitutional responsibilities vested on the council. The further debate on the sixth schedule and some of the provisions which perhaps trouble the council, I think is better left for the second half to be decided post-lunch, where I'm sure the legal luminaries and the erudite academics and experienced statements will debate on these issues. I can only convey my best wishes, heartfelt thanks, and wish this particular seminar a grand success. In fact, I must say that looking into the enthusiasm of the audience and the question and answers, I can take it that this seminar has already been a grand success. And the congratulations to the organizers, the Honorable Chief Executive Member and his esteemed colleagues. And on a personal note, I must say that I was in Diffu. I'm sorry that I could not travel to Diffu. I would have loved to travel to Diffu, but because of pressing judicial commitments which we have from Monday, and my advocate friends will appreciate that Monday is a dreadful day for courts. So therefore, I have not been able to go physically, but I think about a month and a half back, I was there in Diffu with two of my colleagues. We spent a day or a couple of days there. And I was amazed to see the infrastructure which has been developed in Diffu, the roads particularly. I'm sure the people from Guwahati will agree that perhaps even Guwahati doesn't have such beautiful roads. And that apart, the natural beauty, the waterfalls, and I remember going to the traditional village and the beautiful botanical garden, and that monument which we had got, which I am told is designed as per the earring of a Karbi woman. I forget the name. And of course, this auditorium in which this meeting is going, I think it is one of the best auditoriums, state of the art. So therefore, all these have happened under the power of autonomy granted under the sixth schedule. It could not have been possible. So therefore, I believe that as on date, the autonomy which is granted to the Autonomous Council has progressed in the lines, in the intent and the purpose of sixth schedule. So, wishing you a very happy Sunday afternoon and my good wishes from Guwahati. I would like to take leave with the parting note that one of the most difficult slots for a speaker is the slot immediately before lunch. So I won't detain you, and I'm sure the organizers have arranged for a very sumptuous lunch, which I could not partake this time, but I'm sure I look forward as and when opportunities are there, I would like to visit DIFU again. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, second session, sixth schedule of the Constitution of India is amendment empowering autonomy and accord for enhancing autonomy. Second session after lunch. So I request all participants, all guests present here, please attend after lunch session, second session. First session is over. Thank you. This amendment empowering autonomy and accord for enhancing autonomy. Second session inaugurated by Honorable Advocate General Assam Deputy Saikia. So, on behalf of Tribunal Autonomous Council, I would like to request Honorable Advocate General Deputy Saikia deliver your speech.
June to be precise, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council was formed. In fact, if I am not wrong, it is the second autonomous council in the state after NCA. This special provision in the constitution has a historical background. As because my role will be to give the inaugural speech, I will not delve much into the nitty-gritties of the sixth schedule, which my learned friend, Mr. Noni Gopal Mohta, Professor, he will definitely place before this of the house. But just to touch what is the basic historical background of the formation of six schedule areas. In the Constituent Assembly of India, one of the pioneers who professed and spearheaded the demand for autonomous governance in the tribal regions in the country, he was Mr. J.J.M. Nichols Roy from Meghalaya. He himself was a tribal from the Khasi Hills in the present day Meghalaya, informed the assembly, the committee, about the apprehension of the hill tribes about living under the newly formed Indian state. In 1947, as you all know, was the year of independence for our country. So at that point of time, new states were being formed. He proposed to address their concern for creating the sixth schedule, which would give them the right to self-governance in accordance with their tradition. The basic purport of his suggestion before the this Constituent Assembly was that he wants protection of the cultures, tradition, and autonomy of the tribal areas of the country. Roy's proposal was opposed by his fellow members from Assam, which my learned predecessor, Chief Justice Honorable Ranjan Gogoi, has also referred. Roy's proposal was opposed by his fellow members from Assam, Rohini Kumar Chaudhary, he wanted to assimilate tribals into the non-tribal population. Chaudhary argued that the sixth schedule continued the British policy of preventing the tribal population from mingling with the other Indians. So he had the thought process that if we assimilate the tribal with the non-tribals, then that will give a better position to the tribals. Two other members from the state, Kuladhar Chalia and Beach Das, supported Rohini Chaudhary and argued that the sixth schedule had the potential to instigate communism. Das fervently contended that Roy's proposal was in continuation of two nations theory. Roy began his rejoinder by debunking the myth of tribal inferiority. He stated that the hill tribes have a rich tradition of treating individuals as equals, especially women, and upholding the dignity of labor. These are the things in our tribal society prevailing at that point of time. Dignity to labor, equality of women. All these things, like if you look at the recent developments for last 2 decades, that the dowry system, these things are never present in Assam. Forget about our tribal society or our sixth schedule areas. These things are imported from the mainland area. But in our society, that was not the thing. We always put the women in a very high pedestal in our society. So, that leader, Nicholas Roy, argued that their cultural settings and eating habits were devoid of caste communism. We don't have untouchability in Assam. Such concepts, he argued, were in their nascent stage among non-tribals. Citing the Gandhian principle of self-governance and love, Roy conveyed that hill tribes could not be won over by force, instead allowing them to govern themselves would bind them with the nation. Roy also argued from the national security perspective, pointing out that the Indian borders could only be secured by earning the allegiance of the hill tribes. Further, he stated that sixth schedule represents a compromise of the tribal regions still remain under the control of the governor of Assam. That was in the late 40s or early 50s. So, when two thought process, two schools of thoughts was placed before the Constituent Assembly, then the leader of the state, Premier of Assam, Gopinath Bordoloi at that time, he made a very strong statement before the Constituent Assembly. I would like to place what he exactly spoke. Quote, Gopinath Bordoloi said the Premier of Assam who supported Roy's proposal, and he was taking a stand totally opposite to the stand taken by the other leaders of Assam, Chalia and Das. So, Gopinath Bordoloi said, quote, there are certain institutions among these tribal hills which in my opinion are so good that if we wanted to destroy them, I considered it to be very wrong. The manner in which they settle their disputes, their village administration, etc. In other words, they are exercising a certain amount of autonomy which I thought and the members of the tribal subcommittee thought should be preserved rather than be destroyed. What is necessary for good governance is already there. So, unquote. So, Gopinath Bordoloi realized the importance and the practical implementation of various norms which were prevailing in our society was already there. There should not be any tinkering. Ultimately, Roy's proposal, which was backed by the chairman of the drafting committee, B.R. Ambedkar, was accepted. The sixth schedule was added to the Indian Constitution on 7 September 1949. So, the vision, with his practical knowledge, Mr. Gopinath Bordoloi at that point of time took a very firm stand before the assembly, before the Constituent Assembly, at the time of framing of the Indian Constitution. So ultimately he prevailed over the other school of thoughts, and finally the main authority, that the chairman of the drafting committee, accepted the proposal given by and supported by Gopinath Bordoloi on the basis of the original proposal of Nicholas Roy. So 7th September 1949 was a red letter date when this whole concept of sixth schedule area was accepted by the Constituent Assembly. The
result was in 1951, NC Hills Autonomous Council, and 1952, 23rd June, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council was born. So we had a long legacy. And whatever my previous speakers, Milo Justice Soumitra Sakya, Milo Justice Ranjan Gogoi, and Senior Advocate Vijay Pansari all praised highly about the development that has taken place in Tifu and its surrounding areas and in the district of Karbi Anglong. These are the results of the good thing which are outcome of the 6th schedule provisions. We have some small issues which can be very easily ironed out. Like one aspect which was highlighted by Mr. Hansaria was that whether a draft bill should be first placed before the governor or it should be first debated in the council itself and for final assent on it should be sent. These are very minor issues. I do not want to give any personal opinion considering my post. But the thing is that these issues are non-issues in my view. Whatever may be the reason, definitely it is prolonging the whole process. But whatever is written in the law, whatever is there in the statute or in the constitution, that has to be accepted and it was not followed for a long period of time. That does not deter anybody to take a fresh move. We can always make a try. I am sure everybody knows the language of the law which is already quoted. It is a modified law. But if it is not required, I am sure the governor is not having a very dogmatic view on this, or the state government will not have a very dogmatic view on this. Everybody is very liberal, and that is the reason why Karbi Anglong is flourishing. I am sure Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council and the state government has a very cordial relation today. And it should continue so that the people will get the benefit. Ultimately, whatever we are doing as political entity, it is for the betterment and welfare of the society. That is the ultimate goal. Whatever may be the strategy, we should look at the result. The result is good, people are happy, everybody is getting, nobody is unhappy. So if that be the situation, these minor, few procedural issues, because we want quality debate in the council. The debate should have quality, like we have a very good debate coming up. After my learned friend Professor Mohandas speaks, there will be a very open debate. If something crops up, something new, very interesting and very practical comes up, because if you look at our own constitution, for 100 since 1950, in 71 years, we have about 103 or 4 amendments. These are gradually things are being ironed out and processed. In 1950, all the provisions were not taken into consideration. So 103 times, 104 times the constitution has been amended. What is the big deal that we have some more amendments on the 6th schedule? As my learned friend has already done it in 1995, inclusion of 20 BA for Karbi Anglong and NC Hills. However, 2003 BTC was formed. BTC has not incorporated that provision and they are having problem with that now. The governor, in his own discretion, after consulting the Council of Ministers under the provisions of Article 163, the governor can take decisions. But consulting with the particular autonomous council is not mandatory in respect of Bodoland Territorial Council, as on date. Whereas it was in place in 1995 for NC Hills and for Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. So these are things with time, if anything has to be done, can always be done. If you look at the recent development of the Memorandum of Settlement, which was signed on 4th of September 2021, lot of interesting and very good practical aspects are incorporated here. I am giving you one example, 2.3. The Government of India and Government of Assam will take necessary steps to reserve 34 seats for ST and 10 seats under open category for all communities out of the 44 elected seats in Karbi Anglong. I do not know what is the previous position, but if it is incorporated in the amendment, that will protect ultimately what is the basic intention of having a schedule. We have to go to the root. The root is that for protecting the interest the culture, the tradition, the customs, and the governance of a particular community. Nobody should prevail over them. India is a country of vastness, diversity. If you look at Assam, Assam is also a mini India. We have so many tribals, so many areas, so many different traditions and customs. So to protect, suppose taking the example of Karbi Anglong, forget about Nagaland. Nagaland themselves are several tribes, different things. But in Karbi Anglong also, we have to have proper protection in respect of their old habits, old customs, old traditions, old way of governing their area, old way of delivery of justice. All these aspects have to be done by the people who belong to that particular community. I come from Borpeta. I will not know the nitty-gritties and the intricacies of Karbi people. I have to adopt. That will be my personal thing. I may adopt. But the person who is born and brought up and grown here, he will know everything. All the nuances of the community's practices and traditions. So, if this is done, Government of India and Government of Assam will take necessary steps to reserve 34 out of 44 for SC and 10 for the open category. That is fantastic concept. Because the person who will be from outside, he may be residing here for 30 years. He will not, in individual, I am not talking about individual, that is a very subjective. But generally speaking, that person may not get into the shoes of a particular person who has a traditional and tribal upbringing. So for this, I am sure if the amendment is done, it will protect the interest of this area. I fully support on behalf of the government of Assam that this is a very necessary step undertaken under this memorandum of settlement which was signed on 4th of September. Identically, a lot of other things were also incorporated. One thing is that 2.12, the Government of India may consider reviewing the number of assembly constituencies with Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council area through the process of delimitation, keeping in view the population and topography. This is another area where my request will be that irrespective of any party colors and hues, everybody should try that if you get more representation at this school, that will, as Mr. Ansaria says, 1 finger and 5 fingers. Example he was giving. If you can increase the number of constituencies here, it will be better for the area, for the district. So this 2.12, the Government of India may consider reviewing the number of assemblies. If it can, don't come down, go up. On the basis of the area, on the basis of the population pattern and whatever are material for having the delimitation exercise. But the thing is that if a delimitation is done, always now I think it is 4 constituencies. The more the better. So this is another very important issue which has been incorporated in this memorandum of settlement. The other things are definitely that for holding annual festivals and all financial. These things are again, in my view, are this is a natural corollary. Everybody will definitely help, like the posting of a deputy commissioner, posting of the SP. The council's consent has to be taken. These are necessary because ultimately the person who will be living here, he definitely the council must have confidence in that person. You had a big issue with the local principal of the college. For so many years, I am meeting various organizations, having complaints. I am not taking any side, but the thing is that people should be happy and must have confidence in that person. So in future, maybe for deputing a person in Dipu College as a principal, also the council should be consulted. These things are developing because just like the constitution was amended so many times because of the practical problems faced during the course of last 71 years, things are evolving and everything is very dynamic. The points which are highlighted in this memorandum of settlement will definitely play a very major role in the upcoming amendments, which is very much today's situation, we have to take our thing in a much ahead. Nobody thought about internet and all this. Now today, look at the way we are conducting this seminar. Two of the honorable speakers were sitting in Guwahati and delivered, and everybody was participating. We don't feel anything. So things are changing. So we have to adapt. Only thing is that we have to protect we should not forget our roots. Our roots should be intact. We can aim for the sky, but with our foot landed on the land from where we belong to. So I am sure my learned friend Mohanta will open up a very interesting topic. Topic is definitely interesting. Accords for enhancing the autonomy. There are several accords which will have to be analyzed in proper perspective so that the future we can see that what exactly we should do. There may be some negative, some positive, some pros, some cons, but at the same time we have to find out which is the right way ahead. Rest, I don't think I have to speak much about the existing autonomous council in Assam. We have three. We have other councils, like territorial councils under the 6th schedule. We have several other statutory councils for development of various areas of the state, because I have to speak on behalf of the state also. We have Raja, Nabha, Hassan, Missing Autonomous, Iwa, Deuri, Henal, Kosori. Again, we have included more subjects in those development councils, although they are not under the 6th schedule. We have Moran, Motok, Moimal, Moria, etc. About 33 other developmental councils. So these things will definitely happen, but at the same time, when we are talking about a particular area, like taking the example of Karbi Anglong also, we will definitely develop Assam, this district, but ultimately it will develop the state. The thing is very good that Assam itself is not enough. If Dispur is not Assam, Kamrup is not Assam. Assam is a composition of 34 districts. So every district should be equally placed. Why these three districts like Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council and Singils and Bodoland? Considering the other areas, the other plain areas, these were little bit lagging behind. So to upgrade, to develop, today everybody is so happy when we see the development that has taken place in Karbi. Credit goes to all my persons who are sitting on my left and right. So these things should definitely progress, and at the same time we should not forget our original traditions, customs, the habits and our identity. Thank you so much.
6th schedule of the Constitution of India, its amendment empowering autonomy and accords enhancing autonomy, addressed by Honorable Guest of Honor Dr. Nandikupal Mohanta, Advisor Education Governor Assam, and Head of the Department, Guwahati University Political Science. Oh, sorry, resign. Okay, sorry. But at present is working as education advisor. La Simona Marquez na tu gato ko mewanta la Sophie Bange Arjun ko la Sophie Bange na tu kachini ne hom antame song ke to antumta Arjun lomi ko la somo. After address, guest of honor Dr. Nandikupal Mohanta, main speaker present here, Alvin Teron, Advisor, Chief Advisor to CEM, and Dr. Jointerong P present here, my left side, and Dharam Teron, ex-MLA present here, and Kaushik Chaudhary, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Advocate, Supreme Court of India. So, I would like to request Honorable Education Advisor, respected Dr. Doni Gopal Mohanto, address topic 62 of the Constitution of India. It's a amendment empowering autonomy and accords enhancing autonomy.
Thank you so much, sir. Honorable CM of Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, Dr. Tuliram Ramhang, Honorable EMs, Dr. Jayanta Rongping, the architect of autonomy movement in Karbi Anglong, learned Advocate General Debojit Hoikia, esteemed guests who are invited from various parts of northeastern region in general and Assam in particular. Well, I have a humongous job, I have a Himalayan job. After such a sumptuous meal given by our Tuliram Ramhan Dangoria, it will be a Himalayan task for me to keep you awake, but nevertheless, I shall try my best to draw your certain attention. And as already been told by our learned Advocate General, he has flagged off certain very important issues for debate and discussion and deliberation. Well, my topic has already been talked about. So it comprises 4 or 5 issues, my topic. First is about the 6th schedule of the Constitution, issues of amending power and autonomy, the accords which have been signed so far, and how these accords enhance autonomy in 6 scheduled areas, particularly in Karbi Anglong. Well, with that perspective in mind, already the debate in Constituent Assembly has been talked about. I had studied a little bit about the debates in Constituent Assembly, and I see 3 schools of thought in the Constituent Assembly. One is what I would like to call anthropological debate. The second I would like to call assimilationist debate. And the third, which has been particularly accepted finally, was the middle part enunciated by Gopinath Bordoloi and Jawaharlal Nehru. What do I mean by anthropological approach? Well, there are certain groups of people. I have the main, areas of debate who totally wanted isolation from the, other areas, and they wanted basically total autonomy, absolute autonomy. That is one school. I do not want to go into the debates. The assimilationists are already said by our Advocate General, Kuladhar Soliha and Rohini Chaudhary and others talked about. They focus more about assimilation, saying that if we are having one India, especially after the advent of partition, why should we create another set of, sub-regional setup? And that was because I do not blame them, because they had, it's not that Rohini Chaudhary or Kuladhar Soliha had disrespect, no. If you read the Constituent Assembly debates, they have tremendous respect for the tribals. But at that point of time, the Britishers had a very dubious plan. And that plan was, you must be knowing the Coupland plan. Regilan Coupland was the Oxford University professor who had a sinister design of creating a separate enclave and British protectorate, combining the tribal areas and other areas of Southeast Asia, particularly Myanmar, and create them, a protectorate state like Hong Kong. So that is why they were very much afraid of, in fact, Gopinath Bordoloi took this issue to Mahatma Gandhi. So many people were afraid that if we did this kind of autonomy, then a situation might come that it will lead to secessionism. This was the apprehension actually. So it was finally, as has been said by, very nicely illustrated by my friend Debojit Hoikia, the views by Gopinath Bordoloi and views by Jawaharlal Nehru was accepted, and that's how 6th schedule was enacted. And now, when we talk about autonomy, let's not talk about only in the context of Karbi Anglong, because Karbi Anglong, as we discussed today, the autonomy issue cannot be seen in isolation. It has to be seen in overall perspective of India. Autonomy issue is going on about Jammu and Kashmir. Autonomy issue is also about, borderland areas and other areas also autonomy issues, dichotomy is coming up, and many people are demanding separate states. So what I would like to call the dichotomy of autonomy, there are two approaches. One is called the civic approach, the other is called the primordial approach. The civic approach speaks, should the ethnic identity be the only way of organizing autonomy? How about economic underdevelopment? How about economic resource appropriation? How about the linguistic issues? Because in most of the other cases of India, it was the language which was the main factor for demanding autonomy, but later on, in 2003, economic development or underdevelopment became an important issue for the creation of separate state. And now, but I believe the issues of primordialism has become a very important way of organizing autonomy in Northeast India. But imagine we have 270 ethnic groups in Northeast India. I repeat, more than 270 ethnic groups, 185 languages. Imagine if all of them demand separate state or sixth schedule, or even say secessionism. In this region only, in Northeast India, we will have more than 190 nation states, which is not even there in the United Nations. So this is to the credit of the people of Northeast India that we learn, we know how to live with diversity, respecting each other. The contradictions are there. And here I would like to appreciate the Indian state to some extent by the fact that it has the enormous capacity to accommodate those demands. Otherwise, these issues have not been handled well by our neighboring countries. I'm adopting an international approach. Look at Sri Lanka, having a tough time. Bangladesh. Even issues like, our Myanmar, our neighboring countries having a tough time. So the point I am trying to say is that Indian state has shown sufficient resilience in terms of accommodating our diverse interests. So we have the creation of separate states, number one. We have 244A of the Constitution. We have thirdly sixth schedule. And as has been said by my previous friend, we have also devised, conceptualized other forms of autonomy, like development council, which is extra-constitutional, autonomous councils, and satellite councils. These are some of the innovations. And these are examples of asymmetrical federalism. In fact, towards the very end of my argument is that we are having asymmetrical federalism with sixth schedule, which is not there anywhere in the world. I mean, this is one of the best examples of asymmetrical federalism. Now, if we look at our state formation during 1955, there was demand for Kamatapur, there was demand for Purvanchal state. I do not want to go into the details. Then, of course, Nagas also demanded separate state. And then came the question of Assamese hegemony. Bhupinder Singh Committee very nicely elaborated how the notion of Assamese chauvinism, which I do not mind mentioning the fact that yes, at some point of time, we had the so-called Zaitavimani, যেটা হয় ইংরেজি শব্দ কি হবো মানে জানো, but the hegemony of Assamese chauvinism, the way we try to look at the other tribes, created a sense of alienation. And Bhupinder Singh Committee has very nicely elaborated that kind of allegations made by various tribes. And it is not only about alienation only, it is also about economic resource appropriation. Resource appropriation was also another factor which led to separate autonomous demand or separate state demand. Then again, but these demands were rejected by various committees. In 1966, another committee was appointed under chairmanship of H.B. Pataskar, and other members were Shankar Prasad, G.S. Rao. But as all of us know, that this Pataskar committee recommendation, they basically rejected the formation of separate states by arguing the fact that these areas who are demanding separate states do not have geographical continuity, or they do not have the ability to sustain on their own. So Pataskar committee also rejected those kind of separate demands. My argument is that the state formation in Northeast India is not due to various agitation. Yes, agitation played a very important role. But the most important role why separate states were created, I'm coming to autonomy after that, was because of the security concerns. For example, the formation of Nagaland, formation of Meghalaya, formation of Mizoram. Chinese factor played a very detrimental role in the formation of those states. Even state assembly was not consulted. So what I'm trying to say is that if we believe that it is only agitation that can lead to the state formation, may not be necessarily so in the context of Northeast India. Security concerns of the Indian state actually precipitated the Indian elites in determining the nation states or the formation of new states, even without consulting the Assam Assembly. But nevertheless, coming to 6th schedule, I believe this is one of the most innovative constitutional mechanism designed anywhere in the world. But there are many critics also. Many critics argue that the 6th schedule has in many cases failed in terms of fulfilling the demand of burgeoning demand of statehood. Many people demand more development. Many people demand more equitable development. Many people demand more inclusive development. So therefore, and in fact, there are issues of ethnic others. As my friend has said, we are extremely heterogeneous area, whether it is Bodoland, whether it is NC Hills, whether it is Karbi Anglong, the issues of ethnic others, the dominant group and the non-dominant groups are there. How do we accommodate them? But I believe 6th schedule has really, to a great extent, accommodated the interest of the ethnic others, although there are certain issues which I believe will be subsequently accommodated by the accord which has been recently signed. Well, we have seen various violent or armed groups in Karbi Anglong areas, which was initially, it was about the Autonomous State Demand Committee, which was launched by our friend Dr. Jayanta Rongpe and his friends. But later on, the non-violent movement increasingly got articulated in the form of Karbi Longri and Karbi Hempek, which were basically articulated by various insurgent groups like Karbi National Volunteers, UPDS, KLNLF, KNPR, KNLF, ATF, so many organizations are there. An important thing is that in case of Northeast India, I would not hesitate to say that many of these insurgent groups, I am not saying their methods, but many of their demands were even supported by many civil society groups. And in fact, this is not my statement. This is said by one of the researchers, and I quote, "It is even realized by many that this kind of radical sentiments are deepening during the movement for separate state, where different political elites or the political parties backed the political militant movements in the district by all means they resisting one another," unquote. There's nothing wrong about it. Even ULFA when ULFA in its heydays was supported by many regional political parties. In fact, at one point of time, who were not an alpha? That was the question. So the question that some militant groups were supported by some political parties is not a very big thing, because in Northeast India, the issues are raised by both the political, non-violent political parties, non-violent civil society movement, as well as by insurgent groups. So they cannot be seen as a reactionary force. My argument is this, and in fact I have written also, that they cannot be seen as reactionary force, because when the non-violent demands are not met, only then the violent groups emerge and they become the potent force for addressing the issues of autonomy. Now coming to the issues of accords, which our inaugurator has talked about, the fact that in case of Karbi Anglong, it is not necessarily only about the issues of Karbis only. initially, I'll argue that in our previous accords, we saw the coming together of various ethnic groups together. But later on, it became a question of competing ethno-nationalistic mobilization. For example, when Jayanta Rampi's brother, my brother near sitting by me, I'll talk about that. When they had signed the accord, 1995, they had various groups together. But later on it was found that state is what is state. State is about the mobilization of resources. State is about mobilization of authorities. So when we found that, we started our journey together, but later on various groups, Dimasas or Kukis even developed their own agenda, as a result of which they got alienated from the broader Karbi identity area. So this is quite natural. This is what I would like to call ethno-nationalistic resources demand. This has happened with Rabhas also. This has happened with the Missings also. For example, the Missings initially launched a movement called Nilashul movement. Dada, do you remember? The Nilashul movement was initially launched both by the Missings and the Rabhas. But later on, the movement got separated and there were separate assertions about their ethnic identity, and that's how political articulation got represented. Now I'm coming to the recent accords. This was just an illustrative analysis of the political developments that took place in Karbi Anglong. Now coming to accords, which is the one important part of my analysis. As I said, there are three important accords, if I may use the word. The first is Memorandum of Understanding 1995. The second is Tripartite Memorandum of Settlement in 2011 and 2012. It was detailed out. Memorandum of Settlement which was signed recently on September 4, 2021. Now I find certain structural differences among these accords. The first signing of the accord in April 1st, 1995, as I said, it was a representation. It was led by ASDC Karbi Students Association, NCV Students Federation, Dimasa Students Union, and stalwarts like Hariam Terang, Jayan Terangpi were a part of the exercise. These were the groups, right? So we found a kind of first initial attempt made by the Autonomous Development Councils and others, and substantial powers were granted by this accord. However, later on, this did not satisfy. And here again I take the help from our Jayanta Rampi when he said in the parliament that there are 7 or 6 factors which problems actually created as a result of operation of 6th schedule in Karbi Anglong. He said, and I just would like to give your statement. Number one, he said that 6th schedule has failed in India since 1952 because there are certain inherent weakness. Number one, he said. Secondly, he said the funding from the government of India is to the state governments, where most of the state governments are burdened with overdraft problem. So funds do not reach to the district council. The third point, he said the issue of bureaucracy. Issue of bureaucracy is another issue that he has talked about. He said there should be separate cadre for tribal autonomous council. So these are some of the arguments, and he said many of these councils exist in Difu and the mercy of Dispur. Why? If there is a different kind of tribal, autonomous council in Difu, then the elites in Dispur do not favor them, isn't it? And that's how we see many of the councils were dissolved. So these are some of the problems which were highlighted by Jayanta Rampi during his term. Now, so therefore, although that accord was signed, but that accord failed rather to fulfill the burgeoning demand of the Karbi people. Then came the issue of UPDS. UPDS, when the accord was signed with the UPDS, and here the violent group only it was signed with UPDS, what I would like to call the armed group of UPDS. But here basically central government relied on the conflict fatigue of armed groups. I do not see very structural issues being raised in this accord, although there are some very good points which I will highlight. But nevertheless, central government basically relied on conflict fatigue of the insurgent group called UPDS, and they basically brought out certain important points nevertheless. So this accord created a politics what I would like to call package politics. Northeast is very famous for package politics. This package politics was started by Deve Gowda, and it's still going on even now. The latest accord has also given some package, and I believe that those packages will definitely be delivered in the days to come. But nevertheless, the most important point of that accord, signed with UPDS, this important points were renaming of the council as Karbi Anglong Autonomous Territorial Council. The second was the increase of members to 50, where 6 will be nominated by governor for more representation. However, proposed increase in seats from existing 26 to 44 elected seats would take place later on after 2016 and 17. And the present accord also is trying to fructify those suggestions which were made in that accord. Then I think another important suggestion by this accord was the establishment of village councils. I do not know the present operation of the village councils, but I believe those institutions are very much critical, because when we talk about autonomy, autonomy doesn't begin from Dispur, nor does it begin from Delhi, nor does it end in Dispur, nor does it end in Difu. The cascade of decentralization of power, starting from Delhi, starting from Guwahati, starting from Difu, also must go down, must percolate down to the grassroots level. So that is why I believe village councils or some form of autonomous councils, this is also there in our 6th schedule, regional council concept are also there. So we can be innovative, in terms of how to further create certain new institutions to further devolve power. Then this accord also talked about the setting up of State Finance Commission, then strict adherence of financial management and proper audit of accounts. I think this is a very important contribution of this accord. But when I made a comparative analysis of all these accords, the most exhaustive, most beneficial accord I found is the recent one, which has been, signed by various insurgent outfits and also by Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, where our Honorable Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma and Government of India's various agencies were present there. I believe there are 7 or 8 important steps, characteristics of this accord, which we must discuss. The first, it says that it is the most comprehensive and final solution to the issue and problems of the Karbi people. So what I am trying to say is that it's really the most comprehensive, and I believe that these accords and the various provisions of this accord are implemented in its letter and spirit. And in the truest sense of the term, this is the most comprehensive accord. Secondly, the negotiations have led to the signing of memorandum of settlement, which will ensure greater devolution of autonomy to the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. Already in the annexure, it has been given, so many subjects have been given to the district council. I believe once it is implemented, it will give a new color, new meaning to the functioning of autonomous council. In fact, I do not believe that any other 6th schedule would enjoy so much power as will be enjoyed by Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. The third point which it talks about is the protection of identity, language, culture of Karbi people. Nobody wants to get lost in the ambit of population dynamics. This democracy is about numbers. Whether we like it or dislike it, this democracy is about numbers. Everybody wants to protect their identity. I would like to draw your attention to the functioning of Sami Council. Those people who have visited the Scandinavian countries, I do not know how many of you have visited. We should see how Sami people, they are spread across Sweden, Russia and other Scandinavian countries, by Norway particularly. But where their customs, Their identities are protected nowhere they have been protected anywhere in the world. Therefore, I believe the protection of identity culture is a very, very critical factor in this accord. Then fourth important factor is the rehabilitation of cadres of armed groups. I have seen Assam Accord. I have seen the Bodo Accord. But nowhere so much detailing was given in terms of rehabilitation of armed groups. Mostly they are left to the civil society to handle. That's how we had the menace called Sulfa. There was no proper package how to deal with the surrendered militant group called Ulfa. Ultimately, they were left to the civil society to handle, and that's how a sinister saga called secret killing has started. But this accord did not make this mistake, and I think the most comprehensive package is being given to the rehabilitation of the surrendered militants. And most important, this is all-inclusive. This accord is all-inclusive in the sense that all groups are there, KNLF, PDCK, UPDLA, KPLD ceasefire, KPLD-R, KPLD-M. So all groups are there. That is why I believe that this will be a sustainable peace process. I do not believe in permanent peace. There is no such concept called permanent peace. Permanent peace is there when we go to the heaven, Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai. If we do not want Ram Nam Satya Hai, if we want to live in this world, I believe this accord will give you most sustainable way of crafting peace process. And আটাইতকৈ important কথা যিটো হ'ল যে in accords, this accord represents the plurality of this region. কাৰণ আমি মন কৰিব লাগিব, চাওক, যদিও এইটো কাৰ্বি ডমিনেণ্ট এখন society, কাৰ্বি সকলৰ ইতিহাস, their history, their culture is very much important. But we also must remember this is a plural society. All our regions of this state, we are essentially plural. অসমৰ group কিমান আছে? মটক মৰাণ আৰু লালুং চুতীয়া, মিচিং বৰাহী বড়ো কছাৰী ভুটীয়া, মেছৰাৱা সিংহু দফলা হাবুং আহোম কেমথুকুচকৈ বট্ট বামুণ, ফাকিয়াল সোণোৱাল আৰু দুৱনীয়া, কাৰ্বি মিচিং খাৰী আৰু শৰণীয়া, কলিতা কায়স্থৰ গোসাঁই মহন্ত, পমুৱা চমুৱা চাহ বনোৱা অনন্ত, থলুৱা নেপালী আৰু পাহাৰীয়া ভাই, 64 জাতিৰে মিলনৰ ঠাই. So the point I am trying to say is that we also need to accommodate others. And this accord gives, I think, 10 offenses, isn't it? Duryamji? 10 offenses for accommodation. So I believe this will give an open vista for accommodation of all people. And it has to happen through dialogue and negotiation. And last but not the least, I'll conclude here because we have so many speakers. I don't think so that at present, separate state remains a relevant issue. At this juncture, I can argue, even in Bodoland, even in Karbi Anglong, state demand is not the most relevant issue. Here, মই অসমৰ প্ৰেক্ষাপটত কৈছো, আজি অসমে যিটো পোৱা নাই এইটো কাৰ্বি আংলঙে পাইছে. Once you become state, you cannot have this amount of reservation, I am telling you. আজি in Assam, what is the most critical issue? We cannot implement clause 6 of Assam Accord. What is that? Constitutional, legislative, administrative protection of the Assamese people. Who are the Assamese people? Central government keeps asking this question. We have not been able to define it. Till now we are fighting amongst ourselves who are the Assamese people. Imagine if Karbi Anglong tomorrow becomes a state. So this kind of representation, this kind of reservation will need redefinition, it will need reconceptualization, it will need restructuring. আজি সেই প্ৰেক্ষাপটত কৈছো the amount of power, the Bodoland, the BTC only sits in the plain areas, they enjoy. The amount of this accord gives to Karbi Anglong, I believe, will slowly take away this separate state demand. It is up to you, I am not saying this is that,
Autonomous state. We need autonomous state.
Maybe
autonomous standing demand.
Okay.
This is the most important.
That is not sufficient.
Because
that is
direction, because our Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council ordered 6 districts in India. Largest 62 district in India.
Exactly. And even Karbi Anglong.
51.
Even
Big
Meghalaya.
Meghalaya, Sikkim, even Tripura also.
Yeah.
We have geographical boundary 10,434 square kilometer.
Yeah. So
Union
244A,
autonomous state as per Constitution of India.
244.
It's the final solution.
244A is the solution, but what I'm saying is from the practical point of view. From practical point of view, Assam, we are still struggling to get clause 6. Home napai, kahano reservation napai.
আমি বৰহম কৰিব বিচাৰিছো অহমৰ আমি বিভাজন নকৰি অহমৰ বৰহম কৰিব চাইতো আহি ৰাজ্য মানে ষ্টেট বিদিন ষ্টেট অহমতে আমি থাকিম অহমৰ আমি বিভাজন নকৰো আমি অহমতে থাকিম
আমি সেই কথাটোৱে কৈছো কাৰ্বি অসমৰ মাজত সেইটো মই কোৱা নাই আই এম টকিং এবাউট দ্য কম্পেৰেটিভ পাৰ্সপেক্টিভ what Assam has not been Assam Karbi Anglong has got and most important that আজি সবে সকলোৱে একেলগে থাকিব লাগিব all of us must live together আটাইতকৈ ডাঙৰ কথা the present chief minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma মই ভাবো বৰ্তমান ভাৰতবৰ্ষৰ স্বাধীনতাৰ পাছত গোপীনাথ বৰদলৈৰ পাছত যদি অসমৰ গোষ্ঠী জনগোষ্ঠীৰ কাৰণে ইমান সেনসিটিভলি ভবা যদি মানুহ এজন আছে সেইজন হৈছে ডক্টৰ হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা ইয়াত কোনো আপোনালোকে চিন্তাই নকৰিব যে আন্ডাৰ ডক্টৰ হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা there will be injustice to the Karbi people and it is his initiative you know I have seen Tuliam Ranghanji and I have seen Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma the way he was working hard they were toiling for signing this accord it was unbelievable there is a sensitivity to the Karbi people তেখেতৰ আৰু আটাইতকৈ মন কৰক আজি অসমখনক কাৰ্বি আংলঙক দৃষ্টান্ত হিচাপে দিয়া হয় আজি অসমৰ অন্যান্য জেগাত after holding the DC conference after holding the SP conference after holding the Assam cabinet here মাননীয় অসমৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰীয়ে কাৰ্বি আংলঙক গোটেই অসমৰ আদৰ্শ হিচাপে স্থাপন কৰে আৰু এইটো আপোনালোকৰ সাকসেস So what I'm trying to suggest is, আপনালোকে 244, these are constitutional demand. I am not saying that you are not entitled to this. This is my private subjective opinion. What I'm saying is that under the existing constitutional mechanism, 6 scheduler power to basic. 6 scheduler power is basic in terms of your protecting your identity. এটি আপনি মন করক আজি protecting identity to বড়ো সকলৰ যেটো পাইছে অন্য নোৱাৰিলে অন্তত তাক you cannot take away the political reservation. ইয়াৰ political reservation to কোনো দিব নোৱাৰে আৰু সেই কাৰণে মই ভাবো কাৰ্বি আংলং অসমৰ সম্পদ আৰু আটাইতকৈ ডাঙৰ কথা let কাৰ্বি আংলং remain the ideal point, reference point, the way Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma says in nook and corner of the state. Our time will be stuck khali yaar logaloge diffuse logaloge let all other areas also develop and the human development index is also very critical particularly the education at the grassroots level particularly healthcare which is coming up under the leadership of Tuliam Ranghanji and with these words I congratulate the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council for having organized this. This is my personal opinion. I never want to say that 244A is not an option. It is an option. And in fact, Tuliam Ranghanji always assertive about 244A. And he will be. But at the same time, I urge all of you to go more spatial. More tempo spatially hoi. চাৰিওফালে আপোনালোকৰ বিকশিত হওক তাই কামনাৰে ধন্যবাদ নমস্কাৰ
বহুত বহুত ধন্যবাদ তেখেতে মূল্যৱান ভাষণ আমাক দিয়াৰ কাৰণে তেখেতে মানে আমাৰ বহুত ভেলুবল স্পেচ দিছে আৰু তেখেতৰ কথা যিটো আমাৰ ট্ৰাইবেলৰ কথা বা কাৰ্বি আংলঙৰ কথা যিটো 62 বা অট'নমাছ ষ্টেটৰ কথা তেখেতে আমাৰ ডক্টৰ জয়ন্ত ৰংপি ডাঙৰীয়া তেখেতে কৈছে আমাৰ হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মাৰ বিফৰ চিফ মিনিষ্টাৰ তেখেতে কৈছে যে ট্ৰাইবেলবিলাকৰ কাৰণে ট্ৰাইবেল চেণ্টিমেণ্ট এই গোটেইখিনি গম পোৱাটো আপুনি গম পায় গতিকে সেই গোটেইখিনি প্ৰব্লেমছটো আমি ষ্টেপ বাই ষ্টেপ আমি ছাকচেছ কৰিব পাৰিম আপোনালোকে ছাপোৰ্ট লাগিব উই নিড ইয়ৰ ছাপোৰ্ট উই নিড ইয়ৰ কঅপাৰেশ্যন আপোনালোকে সদায় ছাপোৰ্ট দিলে সেইটো আমি কৰিব পাৰিম এনিৱে থেংক ইউ ছ' মাছ
Gopal Mohanto, ex-MP Dr. Jayanta Ramki, Chief Advisor to Honorable CM, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, Alvin Terrell, Honorable EM, NSC, and other dignitaries present, and the representative of the different organizations present here. As a moderator, after now it is a deliberations on the topic. First, Edwin Caron will speak on the topic, and if anyone wants to ask question to Edwin Caron, the participant, they may ask question to him. But only 2 questions may kindly be put to him so that he can answer the question. First,
Teacher Mande, now to Mr. Arjuni belong to 9 minutes ke lo, 90 minutes le Arjun ka chok lo. 90 minutes. 90 minutes when above ka chok. 100 minutes ta Arjun ka chok. So ta Arjun belong nation di ranta.
so thank you, Honorable Chief Executive Member of the Autonomous Council, Honorable Mr. W. Saikia, Advocate General, Assam, Honorable Dr. Nani Babu, Education Advisor, Government of Assam, Honorable Chairman to Federal Autonomous Council, Honorable Deputy Chairman, Honorable ex-MP Dr. Gaitarampi, Honorable EMs, MSCs, and also Honorable EMs from Tripura, honorable members from there also. We are very happy to have you here. And ladies and gentlemen, actually it was the Tripura side which asked the question why there are different kinds of sixth schedule. And of course, our speaker did not answer that question. But I think that it is due to historical dynamics that we have different kinds of sixth schedule. We have the same root but different manifestations. Now, it is post-lunch, so everybody is very maybe drowsy. Dr. Mohanto, with his volume of speech, has turned that into a very nice environment now. We can discuss things. If there is one person from Karbi Anglong who has been involved in the negotiations of all these 3 accounts, the MOU, MOS 1, and MOS 2, I think I can claim that honor. Because I was involved in the negotiation in MOU also, MOS 1 also, and the comforting part of the MOS 2 also. So I have a certain nuances of the discussion that take place, both at the central government level and at the tripartite level. And I have a perspective. I just want to share with you this perspective. Why in Assam, particularly in Karbi Anglong, why we have to have accords again and again? Why a single accord cannot resolve the problem that is facing Karbi Anglong? Why there is always an imminent threat to peace? Even now, after this latest accord, there is simmering discontent that is pervading Karbi Anglong. And I'm sorry to say that many of those people who should be coming today and sharing their view with us have not come because of the fear or apprehension that this may be just a cover. But I think my experience after hearing eminent legal personalities speak today, I felt that we have had many things to think. There are so many takeaways in today's discussion. And I would like to share with you a certain perspective. I have called my paper the Sixth Schedule Accord Perspective of a Stakeholder. It is imperative to note that there are 2 regimes of the Sixth Schedule in existence in the country today. The first is the original form of the Sixth Schedule with power and function roughly delineated to serve the interests of the tribal people. It has 10 legislative subjects under paragraph 3, many to deal with allotment, use and setting apart of non-reserved forest land, management of forest, regulation of June, use of river course for agriculture, regulation of money lending, appointment and succession of chiefs, marriage and divorce, management of prime minister, custom and tradition, etc. It is afforded with revenue source under paragraph 8, which primarily consists of taxation on land, forest produce, building, toll, trade, tolling and employment, entry of goods and passengers, and taxes for maintenance of schools, dispensaries or roads. Most of the items are now subsumed under the GST after the 101st Constitutional Amendment. So it is yet not clear how the government will eventually deal with the council revenue issues. This regime is in existence in the state of Meghalaya and Mizoram, and is still not a SST council in which the non-tribal people have hardly any stake, except for the business interest accruing from the system. The second regime refers to the case of autonomous councils in Assam, namely Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, North Western Autonomous Council, and Bodoland Territorial Council, where apart from the inherent powers and functions, as already mentioned, the autonomous councils enjoy wide-ranging legislative powers under Para 3A and 3B, and the executive powers of the state under Para 6 or Para 2. The executive power extends to most development departments, and the line departments of the state at certain level function under the administrative control of the autonomous council. This additional authority of the autonomous council pervades across all development and welfare activities, including education and healthcare, touching the lives of all sections of the society, and that is why every community feels that it has a stake in the functioning of the council. The fact, however, must be noted that the additional power and function of the Scheduled Autonomous Council of Assam are outcomes of accords signed at various points of time by the tribal leaders with the government. Before the reorganization of Assam took place in 1969, the government of India had a comprehensive plan to keep Assam united based on the Nehruvian concept of largest autonomy within the framework of Assam. For the hill tribal people, and the Commission of the Hill Areas of Assam, which Dr. Mohanto referred to, is the Patasa Commission, was appointed for the purpose of recommending the nitty-gritty of the plan, which led to the insertion of Article 371B in the Constitution, which would establish a Hill Area Committee in the State Assembly to protect the interest of the hill area in the Assembly, where the MLAs from the hills are in absolute minority, and also the provision for the devolution of executive power as Para 6 Para 2 in the 6th schedule, which would provide for the entrustment of executive powers of the state on certain subjects to the council. We may consider the acceptance of the plan by the leaders of Karbi Anglong and North Hills and opting not to join the autonomous state of Meghalaya as the first accord which made progressive changes to the 6th schedule in 1969. And by 1970, the Autonomous Council of Karbi Anglong and North Hills assumed developmental responsibilities of the state government. I call that as the first accord because we are talking about 3 accords. But the first accord took place not under the light of the camera. It took place very secretly at Haflong in the Congress Bhavan at Haflong. By 1961, because of that, the executive power of the state in respect of 17 departments were entrusted to the council, following the political deal which took place at Haflong Congress Bhavan on 3rd February 1970 in a meeting attended by all MLAs of Karbi Anglong and Hills and the acting Chief Minister Mahendra Mohan Choudhury and the State Congress President B.C. Bhagwati. The challenge in the subsequent years was whether, as per the envisaged plan, Article 371B could provide an effective voice to the MLAs from the hill area so that they did not feel marginalized in the assembly, and secondly, whether the councils could smoothly exercise the executive function on the subjects entrusted to them, so that the council could effectively guide the development of the hill people within the state of Assam. Despite the constitutional provision made in the form of Article 371B, the hill area MLAs have continued to remain voiceless in the group majority review of the State Assembly, and any thought of implementing the provision is met by fear-mongering campaign of anti-hill area forces within the hill area, calling the provision as oversight provision, designed to choke the functioning of the Autonomous Council, while in fact it is an enabling provision for the hill areas MLAs, through which they could impact the legislative process in the State Assembly. This despite the clarifications made by the Patasa Commission, which said that the 6th schedule gives to the district councils law-making authority on certain subjects, and the legislative competence of the State Assembly in respect of these subjects has been offset. I have quoted this from the Patasa Commission. We therefore confine our attention to the sphere that falls outside the legislative jurisdiction of a district council. On the other hand, frictions have gradually developed between the state and the council in a matter of exercise of executive authority, which were to do with delays in fund release and the control over government employees placed under the administrative control of councils, as the state continued to maintain parallel schematic functions in the line department. Later on the second administrative reforms commission also observed that, I quote, even though some subjects stand formally transferred to the councils under the 6th schedule, the state governments have been slow in transferring related executive powers and control over the corresponding departments to them. The state governments have continued to retain parallel development and administrative apparatus under their own command. This has led to functional overlap and conflicts between the state and the district councils. Unquote. Consequently, dissatisfaction grew as expectations were belied, gravely affecting delivery of public service and probity in public life. And the simmering public discontent eventually exploded into a mass movement in 1986, demanding separation from Assam State's administration by implementation of Article 244. The mass movement led to a protracted negotiation between the government and the movement leaders, and as the outcome of the dialogue, in lieu of creation of autonomous state as demanded, another attempt was made to strengthen the Nehruvian plan of largest autonomy within the framework of Assam, in the form of MOU signed on the 1st April 1995 between the Union government, the state government, and the ASDC KSA, North Central Student Federation. The MOU enlarged the scope of the Council's executive power to 30 departments, and paragraph 3A was inserted to the 6th schedule to provide additional legislative power on 15 subjects, including land alienation. Most notable developments of the accord were the discretionary power given to the governor under paragraph 23A, and the legislative process of the 15 additional subjects that would now require the governor to get the sanction of the President of India instead of the advice of the Council of Ministers, which Mr. Honorable Advocate Ansari had clarified. It refers to part 3 of the 7th schedule. This was obvious to rely more on the center's law rather than the states whose intent on its dealing with the council's affair had become suspect in the people's perception. That feeling was very, very strong during the negotiation, that the state government was trying to undo the aspirations of the indigenous people. And because of that, the central government at that time thought that there must be a new paradigm of relations between the governor and the council. And that's why paragraph 20BA was inserted during that time. And how this paradigm will play out in actual practice is for the legal fraternity to interpret. In the years following the MOU implementation, the government of India has conducted in-depth studies of the 6th schedule. There were two major studies of the 6th schedule after the MOU was signed. One was the expert committee on planning for the 6th schedule area, and those areas were covered by Part 9 and Part 9A of the Constitution, which placed its report in September 2006. And secondly, by the Second Administrative Reform Commission under the chairmanship of Veerappan Moily, which also placed its report in April of 2009. The first dealt mainly with the finances of the country and implementation of schemes. It noted that from the 10th Finance Commission onwards, the government decided that funds will not be disbursed by any other method, but only funds will be earmarked as local body grants, as grants for the local bodies only, even to states that are not covered under Part 9 of the Constitution. Since Karnataka Autonomous Council did not have the required local bodies, there was a drought of fund flow into the rural areas, and there was an urgent need to create the organization of infrastructure, including linkage with State Finance Commission, that would recommend the nature and quantum of required funds to the Finance Commission of India under Article 280, so that funds would reach the people of Karnataka. Drought of funds naturally led to a dip in rural income, which had a regressive effect on the socio-economic life of over 70% of the people who live in the rural areas. Because the urban areas are less than 30% in the area. More than 70% is the rural area. So the drought of government funds in the rural areas affected almost 70% of the population. Resentment and anger among the youth section resurfaced. An armed movement followed, believing that separation from Assam was the only solution. In the negotiations that followed, both the government and the center and the state reiterated their belief that solutions could be found within the framework of the 6 schedule. As the armed movement pressure was felt more in the rural areas, the government felt that monetizing the rural areas would ease the economic burden of rural poor. Funding got prioritized, and the issues raised by the expert committee and the Administrative Reforms Commission got reflected in the MOS-1 signed on 25th November 2011, especially in clause 6.7. The process is still ongoing, and the people of Karbiano are still awaiting the passage of the 125th Constitutional Amendment 2019 to be able to enjoy its benefit. Because until unless 125th Constitutional Amendment is enacted, it will be difficult for us, for the Council, to link our local bodies with the Planning Commission, with the Finance Commission. And that is, I hope, it comes very soon. And it has taken more than now, almost 20 years now, to come to this level. While the unchecked human influx into the heavy areas has posed a grave threat to the demographic balance against the indigenous tribal people, the imminent concern has been the security of their political future, which has led to another phase of armed struggle. Shrinkage of arable land and saturation of economic opportunities, jobs et al., as migrant population occupied the available spaces. A spike in resentment was inevitable among the youth. The consequential mushrooming of armed movement that emerged reiterated the demand for separation from Assam. In the subsequent peace negotiation, the dominating issues were therefore the existential concern and the need to reserve the council seats for the indigenous hill tribe to center stage. A controversy has erupted as to whether it was wise to bring 6 schedule council under a reservation regime, and those who were against the reservation move articulated a theory that all the seats under the 6 schedule council could be contested only by tribal candidates, and the election of non-tribe person was illegal. But way back in 2009, the second Administrative Reforms Commission had put the record straight, pronouncing that all residents of the relevant council area above 25 years of age are eligible to contest elections. Elections are conducted by the state government and not by the State Election Commission. If that was the legal interpretation offered by the highest administrative commission of the country, then it became imperative that all the council seats must be reserved for the hill tribes to provide for them a secure political future. The second version of MOS signed on 4th of September 2021 has settled the issue, but the fact that 10 seats are still kept open for all the categories, resentment and opposition against the accord have erupted as a section of the tribal society became apprehensive about the potential threat the open seats could pose against the existential issues of the indigenous people's political future. Apart from this, the latest version of the MOS endorsed various clauses of the MOS-1 and reiterated early passage of the 125th Amendment, which would reform the 6th schedule to a great extent. In conclusion, an accord is as good as its implementation. And every time the authorities fail in their commitments, it is inevitable to question the viability of the largest autonomy within the framework of Assam plan, and the separation seat would be cast. Transfer of the subjects of transport, excise and sales tax is the commitment of the 1995 MOU, which still remains unfulfilled as the government fails to suitably amend the corresponding acts and regulations. The revenue sources of the council are in jeopardy as the GST regime remains mum on the issue. Even as the Assam Minority Minerals Concession Rules 2013 subsume the traditional forest revenue sources of the council. The government must take courage to remove the legislative bottlenecks even as over 9 bills are still gathering dust in the State Secretariat. The implementation of centrally sponsored scheme projects continues to go through a maze of procedural flows, causing them to suffer immitigable cost escalations, and the issue of release of funds remains a pain in the neck. All the issues have persisted for decades and will require sustainable resolution. I am mentioning this particularly because the CSS, Central Sponsor Scheme, even if all the financial sanction is given by the central government, the procedure in the Secretariat is that it must first be reflected in the state budget. And therefore, the TME department, they keep it waiting for the next year. And when the next year, only in the next year only, in the next year budget it will be reflected. Only when it is reflected there, only the fund will be released from this board. And that is, we are running one year back. And we are facing cost escalation that way. So many schemes have suffered because of all these things. And that's why I'm mentioning this. On its part, the Autonomous Council is trying its best to implement all the clauses assigned to it. The present regime, under the leadership of Mr. Tumiram Romhan, is exploring all avenues towards implementing all the clauses of the Shape, including establishment of the traditional village development council. But it is seen that the size of the schemes far exceeds the size of funding available. The best way to move forward is to set up a dedicated corpus of funds for the implementation of the accord. It is assumed that a complaint of underfunding of the council would be resolved once the 125th Constitutional Amendment Bill 2019 is elected to Parliament. And the council comes under the purview of Article 250 of the Constitution of India. But the political existence of these areas within the framework of Assam will continue to remain unattractive if the discrimination in the per capita plan funding parity as compared with the tribal areas of Meghalaya and Mizoram and other tribal areas of the northeast continues against the present-day areas of Assam. All said and done, if the plan of the largest autonomy within the framework of Assam is to succeed through the provision of the 6th schedule, then not only must the non-controversial clauses of the accord be implemented in letter and spirit, but also the role of the governor vis-a-vis the Autonomous Council will require to be revisited. And this is my perception, and I hope that some clarity is already there about the present position that the council is facing. Thank you.
Now, if anyone, from any organization, asks
questions, because he is the expert here. He should take questions, I think. I will request him to take questions.
If there is any question,
Mr. Arvind,
Yes, I had a
Mr.
question.
Arvind,
not that I have all answers, but
Mr. Arvind, could you kindly substantiate your speech in Karbi, please, because most of us, majority of us, you find difficult in your narrative. If you could kindly just substantiate in Karbi in few words, or maybe few sentences. Thank you.
Lasi, mane karjuye bana hei, honorable ex-MLA, Mr. Monsingham piye ke hai. Lasi, awenwan pen karjuye ta ka parjutan na. Lapan reply di pinat mo awenwan mane molas ta chori go. Lasi, organization ke doan tame pede karjuji pine ke do pulang te clearly open-minded. Pen arjunan. Lasap pergi itu ex-MP Dr. Jointurong Pita Dola, speaker. Lasap pergi ex-MLA Dhunam Dharam Singh Torana Kihai Dola, lapen ke Supreme Court advocate Adoda, ini tu mengacu tondo, lata Dola. Lasi reply dengan tak Dola, lasi mana karjuji dulu pulang tu lale arju open-minded kan, karjuji tu untuk religion tu.
Put forward my question to Dr. Nani Gopal Mahanta, Education Advisor, Government of Assam. Sir, primary education has been the inherent subject of the Guardian Autonomous Council, and Guardian Autonomous Council has been selecting and appointing the teachers in the primary education department. But after the coming of that, as per the a decision taken by the NCTE that is conducted by the state government. Therefore, Karbi Autonomous Council could not select, but they can. Karbi Autonomous Council can only appoint teachers in the education department. So my limited knowledge says that after the signing of Memorandum of Understanding in 1995, Clause D of the 3A, Paragraph 3A, Clause D, it is mentioned that the Karbi Autonomous Council and Dimahasa Autonomous Council can execute and legislate in the primary education department. So why can't Karbi Autonomous Council hold or conduct that examination? Thank you, sir.
Which clause are you referring to?
6th schedule, paragraph 3A, clause D, sir.
Is there any provision given in the new accord or? No, but regarding the primary education, whatever pertaining to the conducting of TAP, this could be done as per our consultation with the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. But the fact is that examination has to be conducted at a central level. But if you want that some, autonomy or some amount of exercises are to be done by the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, this could be done. This is not a big issue. Since you have raised the issue of education, pertaining to the appointment of assistant professor and other non-teaching people in government colleges and other colleges which are being set up. But there is this provision that assistant professor, has to be done, there is a way of doing it, irrespective of whether it is in Borderland area or Karbi Anglong or anywhere in the state. Regarding non-teaching, there is a demand that Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council shall have a say on that, isn't it, Honorable CM? So that now is in the process of discussion actually, regarding non-teaching. But regarding teaching, process is going on discussion. We already had a discussion on that. But pertaining to assistant professor, there will be a new methodology for appointment of assistant professor. There we have to do as per UGC norms. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, one day আপনার advocate general আলোচনা কৰিছে সেই ওপৰতে আলোচনা কৰি autonomy power আৰু autonomous council কথা যিটো কবিলে সেইটো আমি সকলো কথা বুলি আমি সন্তুষ্ট পাইছো কিন্তু এটা কথা আমাৰ কাৰ্বি আংলং autonomous councilৰ যিখিনি পাৱাৰ ন্যস্ত কৰিছে সেই পাৱাৰবিলাক থাকিলেও এতিয়ালৈকে আমাৰ কাৰ্বি আংলঙৰ যিটো বাউণ্ডাৰী সীমা এই সীমাৰ কথাটো মাজে মাজে কিবা বিবাদ হৈ চলি আছে যদি চৰকাৰে যদি গিভ এণ্ড টেক পলিচি কথা যদি ইয়াত ইমপ্লিমেণ্ট কৰে
Laban Gedi, Sixidul Laban Lele Po, Laban Gedi to Chingwai Bombo, Chief Minister of the Chingwai Gelo, Laban Gedi, see Chingwai, see Norman Gela, J. Cargan, no longer again, the Hota Pectory for Laman Gedi, and the two like the Autonomous Considered and
Greater Nagali, entire Carbier, Pride looking into him, Mark, Hari, Doyable, Sarisi. Just state committed to key stable, যদি আমার প্রত্যেকখিনি মাটি যদি কিবা নাগালিং আর করবার যদি কিবা যদি লৈ যায় অটোনমাস
নাগালিং ইয়াত কাৰ্বি অটোনমাস কনসুলাৰ এৰিয়া যেটো লেণ্ড এৰিয়া কোনো নহব এটো আজি কৈছো আপোনালোকক কৈছো কোনো দিয়া নহব ইটোৰ কাৰণে আমি কাৰ্বি অটোনমাস কনসুলাৰ পৰা আসাম গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ সাপোৰ্ট ডক্টৰ হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মাৰ চিফ মিনিষ্টাৰ তেখেতৰ সাপোৰ্টৰ মতে আমি ইয়াত Parliament solution karone eta battalion camp ইয়াত পাইছো এতিয়া ৰিসেন্টলি কমান্ডো ট্ৰেইনিং camp or ইয়াতে নাগালেণ্ড বৰ্ডাৰতে পঢ়াব ইয়াত নাগালেণ্ড বৰ্ডাৰে অলৰেডি ডিসাইডেড আৰু মাটি অলপমেণ্ট আমি দিলো 1000 দিলো একদম নাগালেণ্ড বৰ্ডাৰতে আহি গ'ল
regarding the thing you have just expressed that there are 9 bills pending under the government of Assam. Can you please say about those bills and can we just bypass this law as far I was Council of Ministers? Thank you.
So now, actually, I would like to clarify these 9 bills that we have. There is also one bill, the town committee bill, which is pending for 11 years. It's very painful that it has come. This is after
Town and MEC pension.
MEC pension came. Only 2 bills have come. The town committee came after 11 years. So it is a very cumbersome process. And today, Mr. Hansari has given some suggestion that we'll have to maybe go for litigation. That may be the answer. Because the first part of the legislation, which is that in order for us to place the bill in the council, we must first get the permission of the governor to do that. Normally, in legislative process, it is the chairman which takes that decision. Now, that is the power of the chairman. But the power of the chairman is now being held by the governor. And therefore, when we seek permission, what is happening is that the governor seeks the advice of the Council of Ministers as per Article 163. What happens now? Now the maze of actions take place in the Secretariat. And for years they have been pending like that. We have been telling the central government again and again how we can resolve this issue. In this particular accord, which is the latest accord, a mechanism has been proposed. This mechanism will be headed by the Chief Secretary and the other member will be the Principal Secretary of Karbala Autonomous Council. This committee will sit once in 3 months. Once in 3 months, in order to clear all those legislative bills which are pending. Not only that, but even in, as I said, central sponsor scheme, pending administrative approval, pending other issues. So all issues concerning Karbala Autonomous Council will have a review under the chairmanship of the Chief Secretary once in 3 months. This is incorporated in this particular thing. Hopefully we can resolve this issue. This is the only one last point of this thing about that front, on the front of our relationship with the
last a quarter band, 6 Philippines.
So, my question to Dr. Nani Gopal Manta, Education Advisor, Gobabasa, HOD Pol Science, Bharati University. Sir, yes, I have heard from you, so I want to know more from you. So my question is, 6th schedule is inserted in the constitution exclusively for the welfare and safeguard of the culture and identity and political aspiration of the frontier tribal community of Northeast India. So in reference to this context, how justifiable it is to give birth the non-tribal community in the Autonomous District Council? How justifiable it is to give birth the non-tribal community in the Autonomous District Council?
Okay, all right. Reservation, okay. Yeah, now previously I think this 10 offenses were not there. No, this is not open only to the non-tribal. This is open to all, including tribal. Isn't it? Do you get my point? This is not open only to the non-tribal. This is also open to the tribal as well. Am I correct? Open for all means what? Open for all means including tribal. So, but at the same time we have to give this opportunity to do all. You know, whether it be tribal or not tribal. I think you're clear now.
Good respected CM. My name is Sarim Topi, representing Kabi Student Union. My question is to both Mr. Teran sir and also the advisor of education Assam government, Mr. Mohanta. Sir, as the UPDS accord, 2011, the name of the Karbi Anglong Council had been renamed as a territorial council, Karbi Anglong Territorial Council. By the name itself signifies or suggests that the land is being occupied by or being administered by the Karbi people. Then why not then the reservation is being included in the this newly signed accord? Why not the accord came up with a concrete this thing like the reservation to be done on the basis of Karbi, because it's obviously a Karbi land. Will this reservation for ST not create a sentiment among the non-tribal in the coming future? A sentiment where two group of people will contest in the upcoming election. One would be the Karbis and the other would be the non-Karbi, rather than ST. Do you think that this thing will come up in the future?
I think I'll take this question first. Alam he one key in the chini navy, Kargana and Pugori. Pinana Tarki. Alam he one key, Itun, Inglo Masu, Council of Hoodke, Katuwe, Bamhamisia Open Bank, Procedure 74% tribal population. 1961 census. 1991 census of Banke 51%. And Assam Bompen, Karbi ke 40%. Approaching non Banke, Itum councillor on a seat of Banke, in law to sit for long short him Kabele. Election kit for a sexual Banke, paragraph 2, subparagraph 1 of the. Who does the Banke? On the basis of adult franchise. Tamane apang mananikan ko kotha tumodante election to romo ko sitokso. Puro dagel ino asu tu sit ko rom chor jibu tokre. Aposi nona ma ke kifle menelo. Ino asu kifle menelo. Respect kar diya to pan. Dag ba tu ba ko notante ani sia ni ke itum ke ba puri sia ko ba kike ve lo ko mu itu bangke thoseka Bana opo mode bana hai bon protante basi de kuma namande ko. Apo sino ke kinan soblo inglo aso afan atingu right vek nahi. Duana sita councilor asi duanta inglo aso konse right itte nahi. Labaso kachi song banke kidam tani kan kerbando ke kenele batuma song pentinglo la kene oktupran ta song hilingalo tuma song government ba chinkelo ke mine jendarula Mitum nanti tu solo kering po. Mitum yo se iro aso nanti turong troji puto pute mitum ko solo kering po. Amasi la masuk cinta le huru mansi. Tiga se mu natum sip tikera tidu ya po. Sip tikera tiang rompen to sip thokera tiang ke natum iro aso le tur chonan hai banam tu dulu man melo. Pura bang kerai lo. Anda sip ke lo bangke lake akape ake benar ko ko banda na papa tu dulu na. Nota bana turun bong hai bong rokok na papa turun long na usi ka sirai और हटा ये turun ko hai kita turun ko hai seta bana sutor ta long ket ke na turun ko kusi hada bang ke sirai lo no na question bang ke long ket ke ong ma ong ema polam se no ti bong se cho seta long tikera dia mong pen long tikera tike itu whatever inglo asusit ko lo hala long ke long ta ini cidan nam tu bong Maka tubom, cisong tubom pulau itu unda tahilo. Mungkin orang ke, bang asuh banta, government tunta kira itu kok posisi, nanti lagi tu longcon aja kali, ada kalau nanti orang ke tu, ha, distrik kecil banta, bang, harus siapa bang borak pokai bang, tholo asuh benda apa, tholo asuh tu mata dimpek, ini, kalau tunta nanti tu guna tu ni, mungkin tholo asuh kita dimpek, nanti ini orang asuh tunta tholo. Lepas solam sih. Non keseparai, normal. Allah ke bangka arjat tiga government uta, Allah koyo aso pakai right tiga, dasi long care ke napa turun noni, long care tiga nanti top, nanti long aso tu coba laran koyo. Lasi no kita tang angge, non sini korak chokta, in the 26 constituency also, the seat is not reserved for anybody. In present, that is the present situation. And this was interpreted by the highest commission, Administrative Reforms Commission in the country. They interpreted in their 2009 report that a person, a resident who is above 25 years, anybody can contest in the election. That is the interpretation. And if that is the interpretation, then it is now required to give political security to the tribal people by reserving seats. So how much seats do we reserve? How much seats do we give chances to other communities? That is the question. And there is a perception here in Karbi Anglong now that 10 seats unreserved is too much, because they don't stay in 10 constituencies. The non-tribal people are concentrated in 4 or 5 constituencies. And why 10 seats? That is the major question that is being posed now. That is the reaction after this accord. There is no reaction for other things, but mainly the reaction is why 10 seats? Why can't it be 5 seats? Why can't it be 4 seats? So right now, the political leadership in the state, they thought that it will be fair to give chances to other communities also in 10 seats. And that's how it was settled.
Manino Salim का जो नाम है, itu mulai paragraph 20 along है, कि तोके tribal area पुस्तक North Kacharil district, Karbi Anglong district, lapen ke Bodoland territorial area. Laki reservation along tokte. Lasi reservation along tokte sinon 26 constituency ta open for all joga thulong. Joga chupate dinong. Lasi nona ban ke sia chipel ban ke nona lang khana lo. Si thongkera clear ban ke Anglong association thulong chatpo. Out of 44 mong pen ke si prikera clear mong pen ke. Sit kiapta joga thulong lage. Karbi kur for tumda thulong ye lage. La pin inut bahini ke theke ga chekrong jongjung ga chekrong atun. Jeda ke che to man sipide teti bangkhai ban sipide teti pupipe lage joga thulong. Lage karbi kur for da joga thulong no. Sita bangda thulong no lage. Lan chalo lage. Clear ho godi?
Clear sir. My question was maybe I wasn't appropriate in my question. Karbi question na kaisa. Karbi Anglong Territorial Council, Karbi Tumsi Dake Kechari, Karbi Tumsi Kehon Along Le Bhutan de Koke Karbi precisely mentioned that Hakade Lavansu reservation report. Because the name itself.
Karbi Puke constitution loke precisely can mention that inu no na mention che. Nagaland ta Naga mention che. Hada ta tribal versus reserve. Meghalaya ta Khasi reserve mention che. Huda ta ST versus reserve. Alright.
And no, it's the moral question that comes up into the minds of everyone as far as I'm concerned. Then it comes to positive nongka lasolam kaki resta. Then muarisi ke ban future along ke lasolam of thak ST reservation of thak pan. Pona ne ke nam tu dunji ST lo kedan di ST ke jan to samela voting rights ke non ST dunda to ko karbi pan jogji na hala so non karbi to vote.
Langsung lagi kariban yo bangke la bangke ada ekonom ke abe hai.
My friend and advisor to Government of Assam Education,
Dr. Lampi, could you punctuate your speech in Karbi, Assamese and English, please?
Okay, I will try. Mr. Nandagopal Mahanta and honorable executive members, chairmen, deputy chairman, and member of autonomous councils, and different dignitaries representing various organizations. I am here today as an activist of autonomous movement, not as an ex-MP or someone associated with First MOU. I am here today as an activist of autonomous movement, and I would like to share my joy I would like to share my agony, and I want to also share with you, I think the Hindi expression is more appropriate, dil mange mo. So I want to share all this my feelings with you. First thing I want to start as a positive, in a positive note. I congratulate Chief Executive Member Mr. Tuliram Rauhan for his tremendous effort to bring all the insurgent groups to mainstream, to the democratic mainstream of our country, and it is really a very, I think, a very positive step where in many other areas accords are signed, but then some of the groups are left out. We have seen it in whether it is in the Darjeeling or Bodoland area, even in Karbi Anglong also previously. So this is for the first time, I think, in the entire country's context, that all the insurgent groups of a particular area, even Nagaland also, one group has signed, the other group has emerged. So in the Indian context, this is the first accord where all the militant and insurgent groups are brought to the negotiating table, and the accord is signed. And for that, my heartiest congratulations to you. Secondly, so far I have gone through this developmental package. My friend Mohammed has said the package of politics of package, whatever it may be, the package I have gone through, it is quite comprehensive. If these are implemented properly, I think Karbi Anglong will definitely be counted as one of the most developed districts in the country. And I give my best wishes so that this comes into reality. Here I want to give just 2-3 riders. I mean, one is that these packages are mentioned, but then there should be time bound. I won't say that all these 30 or 40 package schemes will be implemented immediately, but then when the monitoring committee sits, at least the scheme should be prioritized, projects should be prioritized, and time-bound monitoring should be executed. I mean, otherwise, I mean, as we have seen, many of the projects after laying of foundation stone, people forget, and then scheme is totally abandoned. So this should not happen. And secondly, while this package should give more emphasis, it is there already, that a self-reliant, productive economy, so that we can generate income. All these projects, because center will be pumping money, I think about 500 crore, and from the state government also another 500 crore. So 1,000 crore. So this 1,000 crore should be invested in 1,000 crore for 5 years. This should be invested in such a way that it generates income and wealth, not just some flagship schemes. Flagship schemes are also required to boost up morale and to focus our district as a showpiece. But at the same time, this 1,000 crore should be invested in such a way that rural income is enhanced, agricultural product is enhanced, there is more surplus fund, surplus money at each and every home of Karbi Anglong. That should be the priority of this package. Otherwise, we will always have to depend on state government or central government for fund. Thirdly, this is one area where even all India is suffering. This is, I mean, fund will come, but then if there is pilferages, if there is corruptions, then again entire packages will not be implemented properly. So strict vigilance should be there, and we should take strong actions so that there is no corruptions, zero tolerance to corruptions, and all the schemes, the package as envisaged in the accord is totally implemented. This is my humble suggestions. And so far, few things I would like to say, like I do not want to repeat because it is about enhancement of enhancement of power by different accords, MOU, MOS 1, MOS 2. So I would not like to repeat, but I would like to give my perception on some of the points. So Arlengla pe kihe pe na banke, neli ichengsi pulo dak ni nega arja ba banke, hemprek kaka chesom along enut adam pu ahim pe sineli dak pe pini pe landinji. Dak EM bas CM X MP ahim pe nge kali. Elita claim rawra, chesom rawra, to angom pe enut pu sineli dak pini landinji lo. Sonia banke, daga banke neli Karbi Anglong CM Tuliram Rohan Pan Banke, Urwangtu Pedolo, Congratulations Pedolo, a take that about a Sodak Solulu. Sodak Solulu, the book Lotte Elitum with cake is in Turunello, La Sierra Banke. India Alanka Preta, La Soka, the Sumpi. I see group condition Kilo Program, Capella to Keteregi, Capella to Hilio Lepo, La Sonsido. The Nona Dua Banke, Karbi Anglong, Sodak Solulu, claim Anatunka, Dover Pandu Tet Banke, Monsam ke wante ko si dili alang ipa begini ga klompet kurban tu. Konso ma ke dili pulo je dak tu negi project ka kini alam do da package mukha banke dolo. Penama development package da election alam dolo na technology cardium alam la package doji la so package banke putti lok lo surisi. Putti lok lo surisi ingkan pang banke सरकार सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पे सरकार फी लेवल सरकार सो हिंदे लोगे दाका दगे पाले को लासी नेली की चुनिंगे बाके लासा पुती सुरीसिया बाके लाकु सोल से खर्च दा बाके तंका चौथा बाके आपा बेरेट नंपो लासा तंका बाके रोहन के पाले नंपो लापे लासा का दो स्कीम पचुन पे नबाके कार्डियम लोग अदोंतीन का आशा सुपसिता केरा लापेन रेंगो रेंगी की दोनों तवार की इंकुजी कुसी डेली चुनिंग डेली my short, I will very short. Then I would like to say, because many people, I mean, I do not want to contradict them, like Justice, Senior Advocate, Learned Advocate Hansaria ji, he has also said, and Nunigopal Manto, my friend, he has also said, and many people, there is a perception. There is a perception that there is a lot, many, I mean, a Cardiac Law Autonomous Council is enjoying enough autonomy. That perception is there. It is already enough has been given. And I also agree that definitely in India context, Cardiac Law and Dimasa Autonomous Council are the most powerful autonomous councils. They have many power, more power than comparing to other autonomous councils. But there are fundamental weaknesses still. In MOU, while we were signatory, we tried to do away with that. We could not. MOS also, I mean, it was not done away with, and now also this program lingers. So, I mean, like, one is that legislative power is given. In our time also, first MOU also, 18 subjects legislative power was given. Now also maybe more. But it, yeah, both, executive, both. No, these legislative powers cannot be exercised. By exercising legislative power, you can make laws. There is also some problem, and that problem has already been discussed. Then we can bypass the state government and go directly to the governor and, if necessary, litigations. That is one part. But second part is that even if there is laws are made, this is the minimum fundamentals of the governance. You must have law implementing agencies. That law implementing agencies is not there in autonomous councils. Even 1951, Ambedkar ji, with very rudimentary power to autonomous schedule area, envisaged village police to implement the whatever small legislative power is given to the council to implement that. A law enforcing authority should be there, so village police. Now it is almost like a mini state. So many legislative powers are transferred, but then there is no implementing agencies. Practically, because I was also chief executive member, I want to share my experience. Even before this accord also, Karbi Anglong District Council have a power to give trading license. Trading license and taxes and all. But then who will implement? Suppose somebody does not have, without running a shop without a trading license, you do not have, as a CM, I did not have any implementing agencies. Who will go and close that shop? That law implementing agency must be there. I have a full power, we have a full power for revenue, issuing land allotment, land settlement, land transfer, everything. But then suppose there is an enforcement, I have no power. I have no instrument in my hand to go for eviction. Because I do not have police power. I have to again request the Deputy Commissioner or state government to land police. And as you know, the dynamics between, suppose a political power political party A is in DQ council's power and political party B is in this pool. Then it will be very difficult to get police for this eviction. If the same political party A is also at DQ and A is also at this pool, no problem. So during my time also as a civic member, I tried to go for evictions in forest areas, but then because of this type of lack of coordination, police was not provided, and ultimately that forest area lost. So, the law enforcing authority must be with council. Then only it will be viable. Otherwise, you give 17 legislative power or 20 legislative power, it does not matter. The law will be made, but it will not be implemented. How will you implement it? You have power for tax collection, rudimentary. But then your officer do not have legislative power to seize books. You cannot go and your officer does not go and seize books for account keeping books. But that ministerial power is not there, police power is not there. So we tried our best to get through this obstacle during MOU and ultimately to make district police responsible to the council. One mechanism was envisaged that ACR of DC and SP will be initiated by Chief Executive Member, then transparent posting will be consulted. That is also, I am told, is not properly or regularly implemented. So then that time it was a solemn commitment. Home Minister has been someone, he told me, frankly, you try, Dr. Ramki, if it does not work, then okay. If this point is valid, that without law enforcing authority, law making power is nothing. So that has to be done. It is a duty of autonomy. And secondly, the governor issue. The governor should be the whatever executive power, legislative power is transferred to Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. Governor should be bound by the advice of the decision of the executive committee. That must be there. Otherwise, this autonomy will be not effective autonomy. In paper it is autonomy, but then it will not be proper effective autonomy. I am not saying that governor, for each and every matter, governor should be bound by the advice of the executive committee. But so far, the departments and powers and functions are delegated to the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. For those powers, governor should be bound by the advice of the Autonomous Council. For that, the relevant articles of the Constitution have to be changed. And that will only make our autonomy more effective. And hardly, that I have already, I do not want to repeat, there should be time bound. Because as you have mentioned, the MOU, it is now 26 years. Still some clauses are not implemented. And while I was in Parliament, I was also in the Standing Committee of Home Affairs. Even Mizoram Accord, 2 clauses are yet to be implemented. Even Assam Accord. So, this is it does not make sense of signing this accord and all if it is not implemented properly. Nilingin India bangke je kalam la thak lang dam lor pura Japon dolo Caribbean Council of bangke. Sita rahai Japon bangke hak rakan je paleni ba so Japon hak Caribbean lo masih ni ma ideng ke dundang di pulote. Ini tu mulang bangke Polisa Japon to begini. Polisa Japon abi pulote rahai law making aron selamun Japon bangke ini tu implement ni lo. Aron selam pe aron ateng jongsi komande dode prote lapan ke nerji apa laso implement ye kon bangke ise Japon do nahi la ko law enforcing authority. So without law enforcing authority mane police Japon do hai la dam pipeti ke bangke ini tuma council bangke intangra ka Japon intangra council ma manage la so ban bangke itu ke claim na hai la pen isi bangke pulo ne lige third ka bangke the time bound मतलब MOU के चित्तों के इनकोरा थ्रोग लो नंता क्लोज के थम के नंता तुम पाचुन पिपेला मिजोरा में कोड़ा तुम जो लासा में कोड़ा में जो लासा बार के चौचेलो नोना धुआ बंके इतुम सी अपोर पे लाइक हाथों का वे मोए स्क्वाड पर पी पिपे सिटा लाके पाचुन पांडे का जी हमारे टाइम उनका के फिक्स ना को हर सब टाइम पे सी पाचुन ना को सी नेली साइसन पीजन अनपढ़ बंके Dituniki da non controversy do 2.1 bangke da 2.2 2.3 la sob to leke ninje da matun 2.1 no record lo bangke 371 tuniki Assam government Assam assembly along committee ke sala is pe ninje par sob the clause envisages that as per Article 371 be a committee constituted. I mean, I would request our Chief Secretary member and also advisor, who is a very learned and experienced person in this regard, that it may be a double-edged sword. Because in the constitution, it is not only the MLAs of the hill area. In the constitution, it is there that it is written that such members from other areas. Those four danger votes are there. Members from hill areas, hill tribal areas, and such other member of other areas as may be directed by the president. Last year, in the hope के चौक है, इतने कार्यालयों पे नैतिक एमएलए पंखों पे इनके सलाह वाले उधर वाले, पर मानते हैं जो कि बांग्लादेश से के पावन सुधर होते, if time comes when, apart from the 5 MLAs, there are more MLAs are included. Last year, while implementing this should be taken care of. Otherwise, it will only for Caribbean law and MLS for Caribbean law should only be included. Otherwise, if it is included, if it includes from other MLS, then there is no difference. Why a committee should be there? And it can be again a super council in that case. Our authority of our CMs and EMs will be undermined by MLS from other areas. So the constitutional grey area is there. I am sure that you will take care of this. And so far, 2.1. Then 2.2, this is the most controversial area. That yesterday also some people came to me and said, why you are participating? I said, no, I have to go. I mean, since it is a council and I have my bitter experience. The MOU के चितापों को और चिकलोई अपना एजेस पार्टी है इनका से डायरेक्शन किया है सीएम आहिं पे से हांगने ही थी कादो लोग पार्टी बन के हांगे दो ये MOU वाला गवर्नमेंट आहिं पे लसन प्रपोजल दो तासिपी मना लिटुम कुनी ताहाल सोलो बाके जब ता दुंदे तारा लिनो के चवल लिलो गांधीराम चिमुसी दुंचो अंतराय जोगा कापे जोगा पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के दुंदे करले से निंचियो पिगलो अजनी पीडी अतिमी के वांग तो थान लो that's why experience पे न बनके इन्हीं पीढ़ी के दुंबे जी पहला नाम तो काउंसिल मान आलम जो इतना मान में आलम तो काउंसिल मान बाकी ये जो उस पार्टी थे मतलब कमल होगा सुनिए के दुंजी इसी के लालो लापे सीधा राचोरा आलम से लतुन निंजल है Badak kami si controversy do. Tasi siket nomination alam dak 6 member nomination lapen 10 abang ke open sida. La abang ke neli personal view lo reservation abang ke neli objection abe kali lo neli ki chihab lo. Itu abang ke reservation do. Reservation do nahi. Nagaland fanda reservation do. Meghalaya ke Tumang pen Jaintia pen Garu pen reservation do. Sikkim ke state se Sikkim fanda Sikkim ja tumar reservation do. La se itum fanda ba ke reservation do se me. La ba ke theoretical alam hai. Je la council ba ke 60 area पर कपड़े का टुके थ्रू लगले दे जी la सब ba ke theoretical alam lo practically हम तो देख लो थ्रू बम लो. La se वो भी इल तो के शिक्षा जी तासी reservation ba के तुम दो से की me la ये पर्सनल भी लो अपने लिए चिहाब लो लगा के रिजर्वेशन के तौर पर तो दाग मर के दिली फोन पेंट्रा लाल दुकान के थान लो पहले दुकान लो बाके ला एक्चुअली ली ला हिनिया बुथा signatories pen मिटे the state government pen central government से continue program and this is for actually English वाला pen निकलिया हुआ है ला so far reservations and nominations and open seats are concerned. My view from experience is that reservation is required and these 34 seats are reserved. It is well and good. But the government should, Assam government particularly, this suggestion is only for Assam government and central government. The 6th schedule was granted to all the 6 schedule areas, right from Khasi, Garo, Jaintia and Assam, Assam, Gujarat. আজি আমি অসমীয়াটো মই কৈ দিছোঁ কাৰণ আমি আজি অসমীয়া মানুহে আমি কওঁ যে আমাৰ বৰ অসমক সাত টুকুৰা কৰিলে আৰু আমি টুকুৰা হ'বলৈ নিদিওঁ কিন্তু টুকুৰা হোৱাৰ কাৰণটো আপুনি কিছুমান কাৰণ কৈছে মহন্ত he has stated about some issues but then actual practical issues what practical যিটো ইস্যু আছিলে যে কিহৰ কাৰণে Williamson Sama তেওঁ কংগ্ৰেছৰ মানুহ আছিল কেপ্টেইন উইলিয়ামছন চাৰ্মা বিষ্ণুৰাম নিধিও কংগ্ৰেছৰে আছিল কিন্তু যেতিয়া উইলিয়ামছন চাৰ্মাই ক'লে মোৰ গাৰ্মেণ্টছৰ কাৰণে 4জন নমিনেশ্যন দিয়ক কিন্তু বিষ্ণুৰাম নিধি সেই 4জন নিধি পেলাই উইলিয়ামছন চাৰ্মাৰ এগেইনষ্টৰ 4জন নমিনেশ্যন দি That was the factually correct complete reason why they feel that 6th schedule has betrayed us. Even nomination, overwhelming majority, and that also stature of Williamson Sarma. His nomination was rejected, and Vishnu Media, because of Chief Minister, he gave nomination. Then Williamson Sarma, he said that from Tura, the transport is the inherent subject, one of the inherent subjects. From I want to fly transport from Tura to Shillong. It has to definitely come that inside road was not there. It has to come via Gwalpara and Kamrup and then Surabat and Vishnu Media did not allow. Transport department did not allow, then only ASTC will fly here, not Garu's Autonomous Council transport. So these type of, there are many other instances. So Assam, then there are other issues. So these are the issues. Why? The Assam tribal people, Hill tribal people accepted 6th schedule in 1952, but that during 8 years, within 8 years they found that 6th schedule is not protecting us. 6th schedule is working, yet not working. It cannot uphold our dignity. So that is why Hill State movement started from 1960s. Then again another purpose is there, Assamese language compulsory bill. So Assam government should learn from these mistakes. So what happened after Meghalaya, now we will see in Garo Hills Autonomous Council no nomination. In Khasi Hills and Jaintia Hills they throw amendment, there is no nomination. I think Mizoram, this Chakma, Lahore, Lakhai and Pawar, I am not update about that. But in other autonomous councils there is no nomination. So Assam, instead of asking our signatories, government of Assam should themselves have said that no, this time we are not giving any nomination because again there will be problem. So this 5 seats, it should be nil. When you are giving open seat, they will contest. They will contest. Then you are giving open seat also. You are giving nomination also. So, I mean, this has created a feeling of suspicion in the minds of youth. Fear psychosis. This has to be done away with. There is a community further in the interest of keeping Assam intact. In the interest that Nijitu said that there is sustainable peace. In the interest of sustainable peace by nominations. And that also, it should have been decreased, now it is increased to 6. लेकिन इंडिया बाकी जो नॉमिनेशन पैसे पेनागन के शिक्षा दोलो इलिनेट कालिलो मेघालय लादो के शिक्षा दोलो से लादो के चेकअप में ताकि नॉमिनेटेड एमएससी बाकी पागले नहीं आते नॉमिनेशन एमएससी पेंसी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट अहिं पे नबांग के डाक नबांग के सरकार के चला एमएससी के चला गवर्नमेंट के चला लायक काम लतुम के लाभ दो लायक के था पेंसी बाकी किलिलो बाकी फंक्शनिंग पाते हैं ताकि नॉन अडो बाकी लाके पागले ना बोलो से इम्पोर्टेंट बाकी उन पागले जी कलिलो दावा के clear income shocks pinchang lo. Ako open seat penta hai tumai, ako daga seat penta la tumha nomination people, na bole la tum lo ko ba great shot mande. La so ba ke clear do. Like kalam no hai open seat ke ita ke technology ita ke ID la kapse ko hai. Ita fere me mati. La see la so ba ke very particularly those our legal luminaries and particularly my friend Monto, I will request them that they build their public opinion in Assam. Because we Karbi people, we have been, unlike the other autonomy movement, we are totally relying on the democratic opinion of the Assam people. In MOU also, if you go through the parliamentary debate in MOU, even our movement was appreciated by senior Congress leader like Manish Shankar Ayar. He said that after Gandhiji's movement, this is the only movement so peaceful. He gave a parallel to the Jat movement and other movement where there is violence. So, until our democratic opinion of Assam is created, that this type of mistakes should not be repeated. So, and our definitely negotiating team has tried their best. I am sure they have tried their best to decrease the nomination or to decrease the seats of open seats. But then it is up to, it does not depend only on them. It depends upon the central government and Indian government. They should come into sense. They should reassess their past mistakes. Why Assam is, it is only state in India which is divided 7 times, 7 to 7 states. Why? Because this type of small chilly mistakes. Let the people elect. And still I want to give another family. Suppose you give 2 nominated members, they should not have any role to play in non-confidence motion. If nomination should be there unrepresented community, even then it should be decreased to 1 or 2. And then also they should not be part of non-confidence motion. In all other deliberations, yes, but when head count matters, government Bhama Pata Jita Pata hai, they will not be able to. They can. Not even. And that is why we can allow thinking, but then otherwise it should be done away with. You go through the constitution of Meghalaya, Garu, Khasi, Jaintia, they have done away with this nomination business. Nilikua Banke, isi aru heritu, jitu so far open seats are concerned. The open seats should be localized. If the location should be mentioned. Like in Meghalaya, the 5 European or municipality wards of Shillong, 4 or 5 seats, 3 seats. Like in Nagaland, the Dimapur seat is Dimapur, 1 seat is open. So Mizoram 1 seat. So proportionally also, Nagaland has got more seats than us. Still they have only 1. Mizoram 1, Meghalaya 3. Their population is more than us. We have smaller population, but we are giving, Meghalaya 5. We are giving 10. But our population is less than Meghalaya. Yeah. Sini pura kia rasanya bangsrok jitu nengi nomination lagi pabedat nangko, alu pabedat ini pusita, aku ini tuh tangini pan sih bicara nangko, tapi ratu makai good job long leder nangko lah kaunsilah kini long makai good job long leder neng. Lapen, latu mana bangkai, lapen lah long cap sih pulau open, labangnya long cap kali leder nangko. Kapre schedule convert letters also accept. They request the bank. Kalau karbi sentiment do darbai karbi through ko itu me darbai kapre tuhan ki kopisi to adip tek nahi. La sentiment ni kita online lo hai. Sta at the same time that can food lo je itu claim lo je itu activate ko jai gon ko naji. Sebab tu. Lasi ingon ko na ratmo ke to tuma anwan bank paung choda ko chokchel. Lasi la tuma bank long kia wago chok chelo, na tuman ke long thoma, long klima, na pen pada mana piji. Nagale na long ke Dimapur wan na bangsi la tuman pekle. Meghalaya long bang ke alang lipula bang ke Shillong long ke thom, tapi alang kapek long ni do long thom, long thom. Mizoram long ke long. Lasi ilitum ka pek na, kita long ke bang ke amonglo bapen ko ram mana pekji, bo chingwai pen baga te keneji. Keneji ke di kedo. Nili akan nili hambul saya semua lapen, nili packing oil atau satu paket disposal penepen agar doji. It's important point about nili okay. 50% about ini cuma problem bukan average jongsi langsung mau penepu. Councilor rules about kejeng semen. Councilor rule te amar haleman autonomy tu mane muhatte dise baute logi. But rules kon 1951 te bonua.
Gorono sih, la rules na nipola me gorono pathai.
Alat lagi meeting
La karena lagi mission ek rules pathai lo la gorono.
La bare pasun na por.
Ada gorono fulduel.
Ada pasun na por. La pen
lagi mission ek ta pathai lo.
Tumura ko ke mesel lo hai. CM forward taking actually high court का कितने बजे हमने इधर participate vote किया था
दोनों फॉर्म बन गया था कि गवर्नर से बन गवर्नर ने देख के सीएम और टेकिंग न्यूज़ से नहीं सीएम बना गवर्नर से बन
अंदर को लाइक मुझे लोग आते हैं लास्ट में amendment बन के पूरी नहीं के बंदे और तो जो है कि हमारा constitutional piece है constitutional दिया था rules को बनाया गया 1951 এই রুলসব কেনেকৈ কিছুমান কথা পেলা আপোনালোকে চালে গম পাব বা আগৰ গুৱাহাটী এখন সেমিনাৰটো কৈছিলোঁ আজি যদি এজন এমএছএ কুৱেশ্যন সুধিবলগীয়া হয় সেই কুৱেশ্যনটো ডিচিলে পঠাই যাব চেয়াৰমেনক দিব চেয়াৰমেনে ডিচিলে পঠিয়াব ডিচি এপ্ৰুভ কৰাৰ পাছতহে এইটো মানে কাউন্সিলত ডিছকাশ্যন হ'ব পাৰে চ' হোৱাট ইজ দিছ গতিকে এইবিলাক কথা এই কনষ্টিটিউশ্যনখনতে লিখা আছে एक amendment বিলাক কৰিব লাগিব ঠিক তেনেকা বহুত আছে ক'বলৈ মই বিচৰা নাই আৰু এগ্জাম আছে এইবিলাক কৰিলে মানে বহুতখিনি ইমপ্ৰুভ হ'ব টাইম বাউণ্ড ইমপ্লিমেণ্টেশ্যনটো মই ক'লোঁ গভৰ্ণৰ ছুটি এইটো ক'লোঁ আছে আৰু মই বেছি দীঘলীয়া মই নকৰোঁ মেইনলি মোৰ এটা আই হেভ ফুল পেইড যে এইখিনি যিখিনি কথা আছে যিখিনি হিটছ আছে নমিনেটেড এমএছচি বা অপেন চিট অৰ টাইম বাউণ্ড I have full faith in the negotiating team. I think and so far I do not have inside knowledge, but other people have said that there is a very good coordination between Caribbean Autonomous Council and state government. So take this advantage and implement and smoothen out all these problems so that this MOS is really substantive one and it takes care of the unfulfilled problem of the Caribbean law. Nili ke ning kithe do nili ke ninja banke je nominated banke abedan nan ko na pen open sida banke perform nahi na pen ja area of picture nan ko antar banke movement ke chimana alam na banke uthak state and central government pen chinki pen abake pakeng ponji onna ko chini nilo min ke thedo je kituni ginon botoman amar CM do lapen alang advisor pe kadogo executive committee atu jongsi lato alama abake deng pakap lote lalape chun popusi nili makha lapen last word about nili puje bake definitely is a accord do lote Pedang alam mungkin ninja kan tu dosi dah ninja je lo. Isi ekor dua puluh dah cetonte atau kedoji dan nilai kecuali dia bangke nilai tu 1995 ekor ini tu nanti kedua tu teglong lo. La advocate general tu la legal luminary tu export atau ninja bangke hala 1995 itu constitution amendment kuri mukasi pula lagi power tepik lo pusat lama itu ninja. No. The House of Electum, MOU signed the Pendangan Petition Dome. There are more powers you want to look. The Lentang away, Hempreg one method law, Chojor that law, Penching, Pendanga, also the Dolo. The House of Electum Pupage Lato, Hempreg Itum Pulo, in Mujo Hong One law. 4 pillars executive powers, financial powers, legislative powers, and law and order of Chiso. Okay, 1 law, 4 pillars in 1 law. The next movement they will take care of the movement plan laso hema form sarnun ke chidi inghap kulawai kwama alon pamiji la banke mukka tatu song kan claim nam ko kusi ke dolo lasi non to isi step lo MOU to isi step lo MOS 1 to isi step lo MOS 2 to isi step lo laso is kenkam chojo hura banke chok che duk to ling banke ili tu man dom se ke char go sa banke chok che ini tu mini sibet do bena bakke ko sonzi don ke fourth step tu pinahela rasa ban chisik nahela ate isi part of agene rasi da proyectel hai final ko banke final kare pilo itu ke hempe ke mulai ke final kali lo itu ala kita je hempe nambeji 244 nambeji lasi rasa banke rasa ban itu ke chisik nam Tapi kisi ka ho kaso ekor pensi charbo sai chibun serai lape chokche pulai pena banke kalam chokche pulote itu constructive way वहाँ पे नमके कसो से पाके मुझीमा पंक्ता मुझीमा लसवा कम प्लान मन को निगसिपे दो नम को लापे लाबाम सो निगोशिएटिंग टीम मन बनके नी पथे पे बनके चक्चेर बनके मचक मुझे बनके तो बिजमे पिनम को अपन जाकों पिनम लापे निलितो बनके आंसो से चिंगुम सी चेसों पे बनके लसवा एक और आकर पाले थे थे ओपन के पुलिस जाकों पे चिंगलो गवर्नर जाकों पे चिंगलो लाए पाले थे थे तो भाग बनके क्लेम पे बनके पक्षुना So I will not take much of the time. Actually, that is in the beginning also saying that my speech will not be academic, not political. My practical experience, there are so many other experiences also. Just one experience I want to narrate. When I became the chief executive member, in the constitution it is there that it will be my discretions to, as per my desire, the executive member will be approved by the government. So I took office on January 1989. January I think 27 or 28. Then I recommend 10. At that time it was 10 numbers a year. I give letter. I recommended to the governor. It took almost 3 months I think. 3 months. It took almost 3 months. Governor did not approve. Why? Because they said that you cannot write to me directly. You send it to the Home Minister. And Home Minister was a though politically advisory, he is a personal friend of mine. Riku Kumar was Home Minister. He said that you send it to me. Why do I take it? No problem. I said, no, no problem. So why I will write to you? He was also Executive Minister. I will not write to you. That's the thing that I was thinking. If you, I told write to go. I wrote to governor. You give approval. Otherwise, I am not going to write to the Executive. Then Chief Minister talked to me. Then the Chief Secretary talked to me. There you cannot go beyond the rules, otherwise you will not be approved. I said that you do not approve here, then it will prove my case. Then autonomous case is required. And after 3 months, they have to give the approval. 3 months. 3 months I had to go to all the departments alone. That is why I am saying this has to be changed. Otherwise, there will be a problem in implementing the schemes or all these things. So And there are many other practical experiences, sometimes maybe on other occasions I will definitely would like to share with my fellow friends. And with these words, again, thanking the Karbi Autonomous Council and Chief Executive Member and all his Karbi team, Karbi Annual team for organizing this seminar, and also JK luminaries, and our friend Dr. Nani Gopal Mohanto for coming all the way and make it successful. And I hope that primary education is a major issue here, and he is now the advisor to the education department. His help, anything can be solved. With this help, I conclude my speech. Thank you.
Let me give one clarification. Article 771B. Article 771B of Banke, actually Banke, itu state yang ada law ko. Amahal kasi mo ayaw mo itu, itu ke asal assembly Banke, Banku Israel ko ratrop pe, itu ke Banku be kiri ko. Itu wala masuk na arjulu. Apura ke lata niki no lo, jate ka arjulu. Lapor si ese decision lo pugalo. Si area committee pusena, la Banku area committee buat Banke, inglo aso sebulan ko. La ben inglo Allah tu ada ni tu nak. Lalu apa? Kena asyik dia pada voice dia pada. Dia community ku iseng ko. Anu orang ke kalau dulu tu, tapi council ala masih kutu dia orang community. Dulu amat pataskar masih ala report masih toklo kali. Laki council soal kita aja kalau longke, langsung komiti ke ningke itu. Council apa kita subjek, amu kan dulu orang tak tahu. Ada sih, lalu cuma bangke, orang pun. Lalu masuk arus sebagai khusus suri bangke, President of India atau Central Government tu sih, semua juga asal mesti juga semua. Anda langsung dulu nanti, ala asal mesti dia lo, rules of conduct of business, lah itu beta, lah tu program. Kasi lalu nanti nikah, ada itu 69 claim nanti cak nanti claim kerja. Amat itu momen itu ke, ladangnya army itu tak seta, itu ini itu pada langkah ini itu tidak chance lagi. Seta itu ini itu masih lalu saja kompi belum nanti, yang lo asal kinanya soal nanti, asal lo betul lah beri apa saya lo popular. Seta itu tak claim kerja. Lanjut. Actually, this was the concept put forward by the Pataskar Commission, which says, because the complaint at that time was that since we are a minority, we want separate states. We have no voice in our state. So to give a voice to the hill people, it was decided that a hill area committee would be constituted by the government of India. And the relevant rules of conduct of business will be changed to accommodate that. And the purpose will be for the hill area MLA to speak in the assembly, to have a right in the assembly to express their opinion on various bills that concerns the hill area. Now, a question was put that time, whether this will be an oversight organization to oversee the council. Then it will choke the administration of the council. That fear was allayed by Pataskar Commission itself. When, if you read Pataskar Commission report, paragraph 91 to 98, it will become clear. The report from paragraph 91 to 98. They put it very succinctly, saying that whatever legislative powers have been given to the council will decide. There, the area committee will have nothing to do. Because the exact word used was that the legislative competence of the assembly on those subjects which are already transferred have become ousted. That was the exact word used. Now, what the commission was saying is that they will be concerned only with issues that are not yet transferred to the council, but have continued to remain with it. For example, if there is an AFSPA, if AFSPA is enforced here, why is it enforced? This question could have been arising there. But because this committee was not formed by the government since 1969, it was supposed to be formed. to give a special voice to the hill area people in the Assam Assembly. Now, Dr. Romeo was pointed out about that 3-4 word, which he had member from other areas. That word became dangerous because, but that also was made clear. Because if it is a hill area community, then the hill area MLA should be in majority. They should be majority in the community. They cannot be minority in the community. But if, for some technical reasons, if good people, if competent people can be incorporated in the committee, then it will benefit the hill area community. That was the idea. Now it has never been implemented. No committee has yet been formed. No rules have been framed. The central government has not tried to give any proposal to change the basic fabric of the rules of conduct of the assembly in order to accommodate a committee. Those things have not been done. So not even a single step has taken place. This particular, So it can be seen that if we have to, if the European plan of keeping the hill area people, we have to take them out. One choice was to join with Meghalaya. Another option was to remain with Assam, but with additional powers. That the government will give us the additional power so that we can also participate in the development process. And in the assembly, the system will be created whereby the hill area MLAs will have a voice in the assembly to protect the interests of the hill people. That was the plan. And we have update for the plan, the development plan. As per Partnership Commission report, the recommendation, they have taken that. And the present system is that system. But that system also has not been implemented till now. It has not been implemented. So this issue has come up again and again. If the issue of the political survival of the tribal people in Assam will have to work, then this system must work. And if this system does not work, the other option is autonomous state. Because if it is autonomous state, then the territory of Assam will not be changed, but those governments will be separated, the legislation will be separated, everything will be separated. So that's why we continue to say that the only solution is implementation of Article 54. That's why we continue. That's the reason we continue. So I think that is a clarification. If it is implemented at all, it should be in favor of the hill people getting a voice in the Assam Assembly, not to suppress the voice of the hill people in the Assembly. And if it is done any other way, then as Dr. Romeo said, that it will prove that autonomous state is the option. We will prove that.
Honorable CM Mr. Tuliram Mohan, and now some of our guests have left. So Honorable Dr. Gopal Mohita and our friends from Tripura Tribal Areas Autonomous Council and Honorable ex-MP Dr. Shankar P and the members of the Executive Committee of Cardinal Autonomous Council, Latanke Carbinichola and Pinkomartu. Actually, a lot of things have been spoken about, and some of the issues have been very succinctly discussed. Particularly, I was asked to talk about the discretionary powers of the governor, which has already been touched upon, right from former Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, and also in the earlier session by particularly even Devojit Sakya, Mr. Ansaria. So all these things have been actually talked about, and since it was also mentioned that paragraph 20BA was a very important insertion in the Constitution, and it will be apt to mention here that in so many constitutional amendments concerning the sixth schedule, I think this dealt very specifically with the Caribbean Autonomous Council, and in so many years since 1952, this was the most important decision directly affecting the functioning and working of the Caribbean Autonomous Council. Now, I will not go to all those details, but this is concerning to clause 3 of the MOU, which are enumerated in sub-clauses 5, 6, and 7, where it is very specifically mentioned that action will be initiated for necessary amendment of the sixth schedule to provide for exercise of discretionary powers by the Governor of Assam in respect of matters specifically indicated or entrusted to the councils in the manner provided for in paragraph 20BB of the sixth schedule of the Constitution. And then earlier during the first session, Hansaria had actually incited us to go for litigation. If they don't do it, bypass the government, bypass HAD, and go to the governor direct. And if they don't entertain this, go for litigation. I think that is a very good suggestion, because I have seen even today in the functioning of the council, all the matters routed sent to the governor has to be routed through the deputy commissioner and then to the HAD ministry, and then only it reaches the governor. And when some of the recent communications were sent to the HAD department, it was actually the calls came from HAD ministry asking our secretary, why didn't you send these communications to the HAD? So I think it's just one of those constitutional lacunae that have been actually affecting the smooth functioning of the council, the autonomy of the council. And we all know, I will very briefly talk about how historically all these tribal areas were treated differently from other areas. So right from Regulation 10 of 1822, there have always been special treatment for tribal areas, special mechanism, colonial mechanism. So the next one was Government of India Act of 1853, then Garo Hills Act of 1869, then again Government of India Act of 1870, even Inner Line Regulation of 1873, Scheduled District Act of 1874, bringing the whole of Assam into a scheduled district, and then recommendations of Montagu Chelmsford Report of 1918, then again Government of India Act of 1919, recommendations of Simon Commission of 1930, and finally the Government of India Act of 1935, have all prescribed for special treatment of the tribal areas of Northeast India, sometimes vesting with the Governor General in Council or the Governor as his agent, powers to decide which laws or enactments were to be applied or not applied to them. In short, the full provisions of the law and administration as applicable elsewhere in the country were not made automatically applicable to the tribes inhabiting the hill areas. So that was the constitutional legacy of the sixth schedule, and a special role of the governor for these areas. So accordingly, in the case of traditional Caribbean territories, some parts were under the excluded areas, those within NCLs and Khasi and JK Hills, while the larger parts were under partially excluded areas. The Caribbean inhabited areas in the various districts of Assam were therefore omitted from the purview of the Government of India Excluded and Partially Excluded Areas Order 1936. After some confusions and debates, the Karbi areas were placed under the partially excluded areas to be administered by the governor, subject to the ministerial administration. But the governor had an overriding power when it came to exercising his discretion. It's very specifically mentioned that no act of the Assam or Indian legislatures would apply to areas under partially excluded areas unless the governor so directed. So earlier during the day in the inaugural speech, our former Chief Justice has also mentioned about this. So these are the legacies that we have. Why governor has a very specific role in matters of the hills, and now particularly to the existing 6 rural areas in Assam. So therefore, the insertion of paragraph 20BA in the Constitution of the 6th Schedule in the Constitution Amendment Act of 1995 was in line with the logical development of the Constitution. So here is something very important. I think this is also very crucial. So however, the matter is far from resolved. So we have 1995, and even Hansaria had said this is a very important legislation. But the issue is that this matter is far from resolved. And this matter was also taken note of by the 15th report of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission of the Government of India, 2009, which observed that there have been conflicting views on whether the governor is entitled to exercise such powers on the basis of his individual discretion or on advice of the Council of Ministers of the state concerned under provisions of Article 163 of the Constitution. So this is a catch. So he may have these discretionary powers under 20BA, but again 163 is there, and then he cannot bypass it. Then again, I think earlier during the day, I think Hansaria had mentioned about this, that this is not relating to the hills areas. So I think I'm not a legal expert, so actually I'm in a bind which will come into force. Because again, Hansaria had earlier said that when there is a conflict of, opinions between special laws and general laws, then special laws will prevail. So I think this has to be resolved because there are many unresolved issues which we are facing in the council even now. Then again, I'm going back to the report, the second administrative report, which emphasized that the governor would act on the advice of his ministers by observing that for the partially excluded areas, the governor had a special responsibility, implying that a power to override the advice of the ministers in his individual judgment, but normally the governor would act on the advice of his ministers. So this is the catch, and this is the impasse. The implications of this impasse are many and confronted by the KIC in its functioning, which are direct bearing on development. Dr. Ropi had very elaborately spoken about this. We have legislative powers, but we don't have mechanisms to implement them. We don't have police, so we are actually toothless. The provision under paragraph 3 of the 6th Schedule, as amended in 1995, which delegated additional powers, legislative powers on 15 subjects to KIC, still lacked practical efficacy in spite of 20BA, as many of the bills sent to the governor are kept pending for many years or assented to only after considerable delays and bureaucratic tangles. This has also been already discussed, but I will just take few examples. For example, I am citing 7 examples, and some of these examples have been already discussed. Say, the first example is Bill to amend Town Committee Rules of 2009 was assented to only in 2017 after 9 long years. That took 9 years. And then I've seen the correspondences from HAD and also from the Secretariat of the Governor. They often change within the text of the bill. So this is something which is very serious. Then again, bill number, I'm citing another example. This is bill relating to salaries and allowances of members of 2017, which was assented to only in 2021 after nearly 5 years. Then again, example number 3, bill relating to change of nomenclature of Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council to Karbi Anglong Autonomous Territorial Council sent in 2017 is still pending. I think some questions came about this. Why this Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council is not yet remained as Karbi Anglong Autonomous Territorial Council. I think this is the reason. It is still kept pending, and there's been no communication from the Governor's office. And again, the fourth instances, members' pension bill of 2019 was assented to in August 2021 after 3 years. So it took 3 years. Then again, 29th amendment bill relating to preparation of electoral rolls and identification of voters of 2017 is still pending. So this is very crucial for us. Who can vote in the Autonomous Council elections and who can be the voters. So this is very crucial, and then there have been a lot of student demonstrations and protests, and there have been also vote litigation, but still it is still kept pending. Then again, another example is, just now we have been talking about this, rule of procedure and conduct of business bill of 2020 is pending. And then Dr. Romki, he had also said about this. A lot of problems. He said 50% of the issues could have been very easily resolved in this conduct of, procedure and conduct of business is actually clear. There are many issues like, for example, during our time when I was chairman, we have found that the state budget, the state part of the budget which is sent to the council is sent only on the previous day. And the council, members of the council, they have never been given any option or time to discuss about budget, which is very important. The money earmarked for Karbi Anglong and then in which rate. These are very critical, very crucial. But then they just prepare the budget and send it the previous day, one day before, and then how can you expect this, bulky budget to be discussed, to be, debated and voted. So this is a long procedure, and then they take a lot of time. The state legislature takes a lot of time to deliberate on this, but then we are given only maybe 1 hour's time. So it happened once that this budget arrived 1 hour before the session was to actually commence. So I cannot recollect which year it was, but Dr. Romki is here, and then most of our members were, I think those who were there during that time, I think they all have this experience. They have knowledge about this. So this is because there is no time limit. So this is very difficult. And in a democratic procedure, this can never happen. But it has been happening. I think it is still happening. Then there is, as per standard procedure, this has also been discussed, that all correspondences of the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council requiring intervention of the governor are routed through the Deputy Commissioner, who acts as his agent. So, however, there is no mechanism in place to make the governor's response time-bound. So, there is no mechanism making the governor's office responsible for sending or assenting or not assenting. Even if a bill is rejected, there is no time limit. It can be sent now, it can be sent even 10 years later or even 15 years later. So this is very whimsical, and this is creating a lot of issues in the functioning of the council. And the autonomy question is, you can understand how the autonomy is undermined in every step. Then this process only creates inordinate delays and hampers the development mandate as reflected in the legislative powers assigned to the KSC. The cracks of the matter lies in the fact that in spite of progressive intentions reflected in the discretionary powers of the governor, mandated under 20A, is found to be unworkable, as the governor is bound by Article 163. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I am arguing that no governor, since the inception of the 6th schedule, relating to Karbi Anglong, has ever been found to have exercised his discretion, irrespective of the political disposition of the day. No governor. There is discretionary power, and then particularly after 1995, since the insertion of 20PA, the governor could have exercised this discretionary power. But 26 years down the line, we haven't found any instance that the governor has done so. But this is also very interesting, and I think this is also a very proper platform for us to bring this into light. The governor's power to extend the term of the Autonomous Council, as per paragraph 2, subparagraph 6A, has been used, or rather misused, on several occasions to reflect the wish of the ruling dispensation of the day. Only the first 3 general elections of the council in 1952, 1957 and 1962 were held on due time. From the 4th time onward, that is from 1967, there were extensions on numerous occasions under various pretexts. The repeated extension of the term of the Autonomous Council has only eroded the democratic functioning of the Autonomous Council in Karbi Anglong, which has almost reduced it to the level of a local committee. Can you imagine this is happening to Assam State Legislative Assembly, extending the term for 6 months, then another 6 months, then 1 year? Can we, I mean, this is very ridiculous that we say that Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council is very powerful. Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council has been empowered with all the legislative, executive and judicial powers. But then this is a reality that now, if you look at the records after 1962, I mean after 1967, there have been numerous occasions. For, I think, one instance, there was no election for 1 term. So one person who was nominated continued to be CM for a continuous period of 9 years without facing an election. So just imagine how ridiculous we can turn this to be. So I think this is something which has to be pondered upon, and even if the intention was good, the execution or the implementation has always been very skewed. So probably with the intention to resolve the issue of delays in gubernatorial assent, the peace accord signed on September 4, 2021 had inserted clause 2.11. This clause says that an institutional mechanism shall be set up to streamline cooperation between the state government and the KIC, headed by the Chief Secretary, Government of Assam, with the Principal Secretary, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council as the member, which shall periodically review, not less than once in a quarter, the following 6 issues in particular. So bills/regulations passed by KIC awaiting assent by Governor, proposal of KIC regarding creation of new posts and filling up of vacant posts. I think this is also a very serious issue, because creation of new posts and filling up of vacant posts should have been the mandate of the Government of Assam. It should be the total, it should be the mandate of the council. Then again, proposal of Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council in connection with annual plan, allocation and flow of funds, financial sanctions, utilization certificates, etc. Okay, so far as the timely release of funds, this is a very important issue. Issues like that should be discussed during the MOU. In 1995 also, the same issue was also raised. But I think there are some issues which are serious in nature and then should have been actually dealt by that committee. Then proposal of KIC regarding recruitment. Then within delegated authority, why should it be discussed by that committee? Or something which is imposed. Issues with regard to transfer of subjects to KSE and PAR and functions of its functionaries, and then issues with regard to local sources of revenue for KSE, including minor errors. So I think Alvin can elaborate on this because I have some issues regarding some of this. So this clause seems to be a good step. However, the apprehension here is that the Chief Secretary of the state can always prohibit a junior officer representing the Tribunal Autonomous Council if past experiences are any indication. Because Dr. Rompi can be, can speak more on this because junior officers will always be dictated. So in front of a chief secretary, a junior officer, representing council, it is very difficult. It becomes very difficult for a junior officer to actually boldly represent the views of the council, because many issues are not simply fixing a date for a meeting or something like that. There are so many important issues of council autonomy. So these issues have to be dealt by someone equal in rank of the chief secretary. So there was a time when a senior IAS officer of the rank of one G. Bhakti was actually sent to Tribunal Autonomous Council as principal secretary, but that didn't work out. Of the commissioner rank should be the principal secretary, because it creates a lot of protocol, problem relating to protocol. So I think this will also be taken care of, otherwise it will be a non-starter. So finally I will not go at length discussing all this, because a lot of issues have been brought out in the discussion, and including some of the naughty issues relating to the recent peace accord relating to nomination and also 10 seats leaving open. So I think Dr. Rompi had very specifically mentioned about this, and my suggestion would be the if nomination is at all retained, it should be 4, it should be less than, more than 4, which is already there in the council. It should be 4, and then since you are leaving 10 open, these 4 nominations should be for communities who can otherwise not represent themselves to elections. So these are a few of my suggestions. And finally, I would like to conclude by citing the recommendation of the Second Administrative Reform Commission, constituted by Government of India 2009. I think this was the same commission, the report of which was placed in 2019, which is pending implementation or ratification in the Parliament. So the recommendation says, Ministry of Home Affairs may, in consultation with the concerned state governments and autonomous councils, identify powers under the 6th schedule that governors may exercise at their discretion without having to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers as envisaged in Article 163 (1) of the Constitution. So again, this is very explicit. The Second Administrative Reforms Commission had recommended this very explicitly, that the governor, in case of 6th schedule, should be allowed to exercise his discretionary power without having to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. So I think once it is done, a lot of issues that we have had with in our dealings with the HAD and also the governor would have been solved. So this is all. Kabilan and Thana are trophies are. એટલે ત્યારબાદ જે અલગ થઈ ગયો પહેલો અલગ ગવર્નર અલગ સુધી મારા પહેલો લાસી અસંતિ અલગ ગવર્નર આફાન કિલો અલગ anda eso memang ibu kan kalau gubernur dan partisan belum betul ke sesuatu belum kabelo sesuatu kemai mungkin lah itu citik belum walau le bercemai atau ini kurang ke gubernur kan kilo nih ya bangke gubernur betul nih kita ini gubernur kan tu nih kilo dia pantah isi kan tu na lang isi kan tu dia rapi HT long tu na lang HT long tu dia rapi ansi ala gubernur ni lapen ke pinangan na council lalu ini nak tengok lo gubernur kan look hit lah sana lo long look terhadap tu lah council lah secretary depan phone number yang kisah tu ni jadi ministry long apa soal lu nalu le langsung nak kau itu kalau itu hala ala tu mandi lu le ala soal ni kita desak sila soal mana ni soal ni pulau lah ni gubernur akan jah kompilo lah bagi apa district long Sixty-two district bah state lo hangge apa state lo mangge gubernur tu ala article versus state agency ala minister tu chief minister tu atte sila tu claim nang jata assignment kita setelah 1995 MOU sepakat kana fi bangke 28 ting dana bangke gubernur ke council anda ajnangi personal tu State Council of Ministers sudah jumpa. Setelah kabinet la penasi sebelum Council of Anta, Arjunai kolam tu, kalau ada macam. Arjunai berapa ada tu le, claim tu claim kita ni. Itu nadakan kita yang lama, akhir bang. Nang cekor ada nang cekor biasa ni. Kupini claim program tu la, macam orang sudah ni la. Discussion part acting macam Council mana ni. Terus sendiri pun bagi 1995 kan orang kan korak slok kan korak slok kan pakai impacta gubernur asam gubernur Karbingo Autonomous Council put hack discretionary power atau so power ban exercise kemungkinan. Lapen ke angkor malam dan kuamuk lote la supera sudah la council apa nasong Karbingo pini la so discretionary power bagi अभी अते रूट के चेंज कर हिस्ट्री तो मैं हम लोग 1822 पर नॉन 1935 पर ना काउंसिल हमारा पठेक ना बसो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935 ना बसो एक ना ब्रिटिश के दो होत तासोटिंग से नॉन स्टूडेंट असम से मारनो हाला सोहरा का गवर्नर अपन स्पेशल पार्ट किदो तासोटिंग से itu mata ना बसो diskusi para itu asal tinggal pada kemanke asal klaim berkata ke government langsung jual itu asal langsung di pulau sih nasi governor agro bangke setan bangke governor agro bangke di sana kombinasi pulau teh lah 20 bulan 1995 MOU tinggal lah sobang security lah bangke non lah ini kurang bangke Second, administrative reforms of commission of KPR thing hala asama government apan aluje pinta latung ke claim governor claim son recommendation siki sendiri kipu bakal asote claiming kita lag
in the midst was advocate Kaushik Chaudhary is there here and now I ask Mr. Kaushik Chaudhary, who is an advocate on record of the Supreme Court of India, to address this letter.
Honorable CM Sri Puneram, Honorable Dr. Chandra, respected Mr. Highly grateful to the Council for giving me this opportunity to share a platform with giving me very important. After a comprehensive and detailed discussion on 6th schedule by some of the prominent legal and political leaders, I am not left with much more to comment on anything on the legality of the subject. Rather, I will say today, rather than speak, I am an observer who will take many votes from here to say it to my rest part of the state as well as to rest part of the country. Stay in Delhi
and I'm really impressed by the enthusiasm shown by the Karbi Anglong people about protecting their right. I am highly impressed by their conduct today in the seminar. The way the questions were put, it shows the progress which I have seen. The moment I entered into the Karbi Anglong district, it shows that the lawmaker, the constitutional maker, who has dreamt about bringing proper protection to this council has been achieved. The dream of the constitutional maker has been brought to the reality by the executive members of this council, and I am really thankful that the law has been protected properly in this particular society. I will not say much on the legality of the subject.